and pills scattered, as they put it, on the countertop near Betsy Arakawa.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt, a gas company, also part of the investigation. Gene Hackman was 95, one of Hollywood's most respected actors.
All right, Popeye's here. Get your hands on your heads. Get off the bar and get on the wall. What's my name?
Popeye Doyle. If he doesn't like you, he'll take you apart.
Winning Oscars for The French Connection and Unforgiven. The Tate brothers say they're innocent and misunderstood. The online influencers who have millions of followers arriving in the U.S. today with a human trafficking case against them still pending in Romania. Andrew Tate telling reporters,
"We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever."
In December, a court ruled the case couldn't go to trial, but an investigation continues. In the meantime, a travel ban related to the charges was lifted. The brothers are dual U.S. and British citizens. America is listening to Fox News.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperature's a good 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, but still pretty easy to take. 59 sunny skies, a little windy, clear and chilly tonight. Let's drop it back to 36. Friday, sunny, windy, and warm, 70 Friday afternoon. It's not going to last. A dry cold front coming through Friday night. Colder for the weekend. Saturday, sunny and 48. Sunday, sunny and 46. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hi, Chad Hansen from Hansen's Tree Service. Much like the human body, trees require a specific combination of nutrients to thrive. Our certified arborists can come to your property and prescribe the ideal treatment to ensure your trees and plants thrive this coming season. Check us out today at hansenstree.com and take advantage of our winter savings.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars Lose the Weight and Stop Smoking. Early bird specials $49.99. Seminar Sunday, March 16th. Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55, St. Louis. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop Smoking Seminar 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th, 4 Point Sheraton, St. Louis. Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar 8 p.m.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res. February, of course, is the month for love. And when's the last time you gave your carpet the love and attention it really deserves? Have you gotten down on your hands and knees and adored how clean and refreshed it was? Or are you scared about what you might see or smell? Probably the latter. Keep in mind, not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, it's the biggest air filter in your home. So if your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you're breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, and bacteria. So during the month of February, Zero Res is going to take care of that. It's the Love Your Rug special. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $119 plus a 4th room clean for free. And don't forget Dirt and Dander's favorite hiding place. That's your air ducts. This month, take $75 off when you get your air ducts professionally cleaned. Zero Res cleaned. Call Zero Res now at 314-474-2020. Make sure you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk to get the special for the month of February. Call now, 474-2020, or online at ZeroResSTL.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at NewNordicUSA.com or CVS. That's NewNordicUSA.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Yeah, I think this is great. This is a huge step towards transparency. Donald Trump said he was going to be transparent with the American people. Our House Oversight Committee created a task force to try to get more of what we call American secrets out in the public. The American people deserve to know who was on that Epstein list and whether or not our government was spying on people and allowing this to happen to get leverage. Were people being blackmailed? This is a national security concern. So I applaud Pam Bondi for releasing this later on today, and I'm like you, I'm going to learn a lot once those names are made public.
Give us the names. Just yesterday on the Annie Fry Show, we were sitting around here saying, let's list the conspiracies that we want to know is true. Let's list the conspiracies that we would want to know are not true. We want the facts. And then that night, Pam Bondi's like, hey, you guys want some Epstein files? And we're like, yes, in fact, we do. And so I've just been sitting staring at the TV all morning since like 6, waiting for information. And it is 12:07 here in St. Louis. Thanks for tuning into the Annie Fry Show. We don't have them yet. I presume that they might show up. Typically for us, it's about 3 o'clock. And then the information is out there for the primetime news shows to comb through. But we don't have them yet. But last night, we find out that Pam Bondi is telling Jesse Waters, yeah, you're going to be able to see these files today. Are you excited?
I am excited.
It's kind of a weird word for it, but...
Well, it's been so long. I mean, this is something that's been hidden deliberately for a long time. And so to have the transparency of the DOJ saying, yes, it is our goal here barely a month into the administration to release the Epstein list is great because it's not only about this, it's about everything. All the stuff that we've been saying we need to know more about this, they're making those things a priority.
From what we heard last night, and I'm going to play this clip for you here in just a second, you know, I don't know if the information that we get, are there headlines that go with it automatically, or sometimes these things get dumped out and it's out there for people to consume, and then good reporters start combing through and they understand how to get to the meat of what that report might entail, and we sit and wait for the reporters to go, and then you hope that the reporters that are out there are being honest and not just angled or slanted. But there are going to be some huge headlines, I presume, that would come out of what appears to be flight logs. Now, what is it? What are you trying to get? Donald Trump has flown on, is it the Lolita Express? That's his, right? That's Epstein's, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't that the name of the plane?
That's one of the name they call him. Yeah.
Trump flew on it, but did he fly on it multiple times?
I think that it may have been a couple, but I don't think it was more than that.
I think it was always like intrastate, like inside the United States.
Oh, so it was never to the island or anything?
No, I find it curious that you'd be like, yeah, let's release these. And, if Trump's name is on there and it's as implicative as we might assume that like a Bill Clinton's name might be, I would just think that Pam Bondi wouldn't be like, I'd like to do this in week 3.
Yeah.
Or 2 or whatever it is for her. So I don't know, like, if Trump's name is on there, but he's said many times that he's kind of explained his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. You can't give him deference that you're not willing to give other people to explain themselves. I would assume that if your name is on this list, if it's just a flight log, if your name is on that list, that's not automatically an indication that you are a pedophile. But we'll have to wait and see what comes out. Pam Bondi on with Jesse Waters yesterday, and this is kind of what got the wheels really spinning.
On your desk is, when can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have, well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims, Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
So Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, they're clarifying that you're going to see flight logs, you're going to see names, and there are over 250 victims that they are trying to protect and, I assume, redact. Gosh. I would like to be on the other side of the Epstein conversation. I would like to be where when Jeffrey Epstein's name comes up, it's not just Epstein didn't kill himself and all of the allegations that have swirled around. I mean, remember, we still have the what do we call him now? P. Diddy? Is that what he goes by? Diddy?
Diddy.
Yeah, either one.
He's still sitting in jail. Just in the last week, I think it was, one of his defense attorneys said, I'm off this case. I cannot work this case. I asked the judge to release me from this obligation. I'd like to know more information about that. But to me, let's see, I think it was Doug here, just said, I must be alone in not giving a crap about the Epstein list. I wonder how many of you care as much about it as I do. I think that the Epstein, that the truth that exists behind Jeffrey Epstein's existence, you know, there's an island and they suggest that they had young girls there and they would keep those young girls there. Correct me if I'm wrong, because again, this is all stuff, you know, you hear stories of things that might be happening, but we don't talk about it in a factual way, and it's almost so that everything gets put in the conspiracy bucket and like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. These people were being traveled to and from this island that Jeffrey Epstein owned, and he had young girls there, and they were there to have sex with the people who he brought to them.
Yes. It probably was people of all ages, but it included a lot of people who were underage, too.
Not a qualification to be under 18, but certainly not a disqualification.
Right.
If the names that are associated with that have been thrown around, I mean, they're not just Hollywood types, they're powerful people. This is a culture thing. And we talk on this show a lot about culture, and I am much more interested in rooting out the rot, the decay, the depravity of culture, because I think the natural consequences downstream from that benefit the politics, which make us a better country. And it's not, none of this is about Republicans winning. All of this is about a prosperous, fruitful United States of America where I can raise my family the way I want to raise my family without all of the corruption being a part of the conversation, top to bottom, left, right, everywhere you go. It's not red versus blue. That's actually a really kind of shallow way to look at it, which is why if the Epstein list reveals people who I thought that I liked, I still want to know.
It's unfortunate that people have made this a little bit more political than it needs to be because it involves politicians. It doesn't need to be political, though. The sad part is that you just had an administration for 4 years that could have released this stuff just the same way as Pam Bondi is doing right now, and that was a Democrat administration. Now you have a Republican administration that's willing to do it on basically day 29 or whatever it is for Pam Bondi. So that there is kind of a political element to this in that one side was willing to do it and the other side wasn't. And you do hear a lot more Republican congressmen calling it out and saying we need this. And I don't hear as many Democrats that tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing any. But you're right. I don't care who's on this list. I would like it to be public and anybody who is associated be doxxed and outed. Now, today, what we're going to get, it may not be 100% concrete evidence that those people committed crimes, but you're getting one step closer to finding out who was involved in the actual crimes.
It's not even just about the Epstein list, because if you consider the Epstein list just in a news vacuum, in a factual vacuum, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. It stands alone as an absolutely wretched existence that is a part of our reality that we haven't talked about and had the information on. The reason why, I'm always like, I don't really want to know these things. I don't want to, especially when it has to do with children. I don't want to know these stories. But if we are made to be comfortable not knowing these stories, then the stories can exist.
Yes.
The transparency and the light that comes across something like this makes it so that it can't happen anymore. So in a vacuum, of course, the Epstein story is a wretched, wretched story, and it should be shown to everybody so that we can ensure that we can fight back against something like this happening again. But it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists with the last 4 years of an administration that cared nothing about throwing the doors open on our borders to let people come in who are trafficking children. We are missing tens of thousands of children in this country under the leadership of Joe Biden and whoever the heck was running that administration, letting people come here. And, like Jim Carafano, when he comes on the show on Tuesdays, I remember specifically, I think it was is it Sound of Freedom that was about the child trafficking? Is that the movie? I never watched it. I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't make myself do it. I feel like maybe I'll watch it when I feel like maybe there is some sort of conclusion to the story, to the extent that you can have a conclusion to the story, but I couldn't make myself do it. But I'm talking to Jim Carafano on this show, and, he's talking about, it's not just about people coming here and wanting to leech off the United States of America. It's actually way worse than that. And you talk about the drugs, and you talk about the gangs, and you talk about the human trafficking and the sex trafficking and the child trafficking. And I said to him in one of these interviews, Jim, you know what? People talk about child trafficking. I have an idea of what that means. I've read enough that I have, I have a concept in my mind as to what that means. I said, but I want you to tell me exactly what you want the American listener right now to understand about what these policies are allowing to happen, permitting to happen, and inviting to happen in the United States. And he would talk about how these children are handed over to traffickers, coyotes. They're paid by their family members because you can't get into the country in some cases as 20-year-old man, 30-year-old man. You can't get in. You can't just walk in. But if you have a child, you can get in. And you can bring people in. You can bring families in. You can bring groups of people in when you have children to pair them up together. So these families will pay these coyotes to take these people across the border, and they use the children to get across the border. And then you're like, well, but then these children have the opportunity that exists in America. No, that's not actually it. They take them back across the border again, back into Mexico, so they can recycle this procedure so they can get more people, make more money coming across the southern border, and they use these kids to do it. And they rape them while this process is taking place. And we sit around and we know this is happening, and we're like, throw the border open. What does Joe Biden say in his debate performance when he was trying to get the nomination? Come. He invites them to come. And they say, Joe Biden says I'm supposed to come. And then what does Kamala Harris say when she goes to the triangle countries or whatever it's called? She says, don't come. And that was it. That was the policy. That was the end. They don't stop it on the southern border. And what's happening to these children? We're bringing these children in and they're being abused, and we know it, and we're not stopping it. That's happening at the same time as a location where we know people were being flown with purpose and intent to abuse children. And then you add on top of that, the cherry on top of all of it, where we have a sexually explorative culture right now, where the amount of time, polyamory. Have you heard this word before?
Oh, yeah.
It's hit a lot in the last 48 hours. Conservative show hosts and news hosts don't know how to say the word.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, it's hilarious. I'd like a montage. Polyamory, is that the right way to say it?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say yes.
Sure. I just went by the old function of just commit to it and pretend, and then everybody will be like, oh, she's talking about.
Yeah.
All these different types of lifestyles that now exist that didn't 10 years ago. I'm not here to pick and choose and divide, these are okay and these aren't okay. Your morals, you understand what you believe, but who are the people who think it's okay? What do we change pedophilia to? Minor attracted persons?
Yeah, MAPS. Yeah, that's what they call them.
That's being normalized right now. Minor attracted persons. So you put that on top of a government that is willfully participating in the child sex trafficking across our southern border so that more people can get here. I mean, if you believe what a lot of pundits say, it's so that eventually they'll vote Democrat. And in the midst of this, we scratch our head on who are the most powerful people, the influential people that were, we know that Jeffrey Epstein has very, very, very high up connections in a whole lot of places. Why was he doing this? Why did he die in a prison the way he died? I think it's the first domino, the biggest domino to fall to help stop all of these other things. And if we can determine who or what is pushing our culture into this absolutely wretched, depraved way of living, then we can start to call it out. And if it doesn't start with Jeffrey Epstein, it definitely goes through Jeffrey Epstein. And I want names. And I am prepared to be incredibly disappointed by some of the names that might come out with this. I'm also prepared to not know a lot of, there might be a few highlights that come through and you're like, oh, well, I can kind of see that. It doesn't matter. If these people were doing what they were doing, they should be called out and humiliated and punished for what they have done. But we can't do that until we have the facts. And Pam Bondi says we're supposed to have them today. You said you heard originally that it was tomorrow?
Well, I saw that it was February 28th originally, and then she went on Jesse Waters and said, no, tomorrow. But the way she phrased it is some of those documents are going to start to come out today. So I don't know if that means we're really going to get the whole thing
She
today.
said that we'd have flight logs tomorrow, that there would be names. She said that, and then she said it again, and she said, hopefully.
Yeah.
But she said, I'm making news here on your show, Jesse. So that would be pretty stupid if she didn't. She's got to do something now. There's got to be something.
It's got to be at least the cover page.
Let's take a quick break. I want to ask Hans von Spakovsky about the legal ramifications of what is taking place with all of this. Very curious. Also, last night there was a Supreme Court ruling very, very late that went in Donald Trump's favor. It was, I don't know if it was a Supreme Court ruling so much as the Chief Justice saying that those invoices that were going to need to be paid by the Trump administration to USAID, I think there's a little bit of a hold on that. So we'll talk to Hans about that as well. Hans von Spakovsky on the Annie Frey Show next.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Frey Show.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Prices are going up in 2025 on HVAC equipment. Save now with 2024 pricing on a new system today. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com/new.
Looking for SLU men's basketball? You found it right here this weekend on 97.1. Tune in for the Billikens game at 3. Pre-game starting at 2:45. SLU versus Loyola. We're hosting the Billikens game for you right here this Saturday. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
It's 7 a.m. Say it in the street, that's a knockout. But just say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. And I'm just like, hey, are you okay? And I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression, but I've learned a lesson that stressing and obsessing about somebody else is no fun. And snakes and stones never broke my bones, so
Yeah, I think this is great. This is a huge step towards transparency. Donald Trump said he was going to be transparent with the American people. Our House Oversight Committee created a task force to try to get more of what we call American secrets out in the public. The American people deserve to know who was on that Epstein list and whether or not our government was spying on people and allowing this to happen to get leverage. Were people being blackmailed? This is a national security concern. So I applaud Pam Bondi for releasing this later on today, and I'm like you, I'm going to learn a lot once those names are made public.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Your form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
So, Hans, last night, the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, dropped a little bit of a bomb on Jesse Waters, saying that today we were going to get some Epstein information, some flight logs, and so on and so forth. And I wanted to give you an opportunity legally to give us your thoughts on, you know, if these names come out, if we find out that crimes were committed, it sure seems like there were. Is this just, is there a legal peril coming for some of these people whose names might be released, or is it just public shame at this point?
Well, at this thing, I think it's probably just public shame because statutes of limitations have already run, and I'm assuming that criminal prosecutors at the Justice Department went through these records, and if there had been other individuals that they could have criminally indicted, they would have done so. You know, the one thing I would say about all of this is it's about time. Here's the rules when it comes to the records of a criminal investigation, criminal prosecution at the Justice Department, which is that when the case is going on, as it's being prosecuted, no one's got the right to get access to that information, neither the public nor members of Congress, because that could compromise, you know, the criminal investigation and prosecution. But once a case is over, and as you know, since the death of Epstein, this case has been over for a long time. Once a case is over, all of those records, with only a couple of exceptions, are subject to public disclosure. The exception to that are grand jury materials. You know, there's a section of federal law that makes those materials secret, and if there are issues of national security, or if the FBI needs to protect, for example, the identity of a confidential informant, that they don't have to release. But everything else, that is subject to public disclosure, and it should have been released.
Yes.
Annie, a long time ago.
You know, that was Congressman Comer in the sound that we played at the beginning, and he said that it's a good thing, and we want to see these, what he referred to as American secrets, be revealed because the American people have a right to know. You know, you're talking about proprietary information when it comes to being a part of a trial, but, you know, we're talking about the JFK files as well. We've talked about, you know, Bobby Kennedy's dad, that situation, MLK Jr. There are a lot of just storied secrets that seem to have some relative information that the government holds, when does that become the business of the American people? Is it as soon, like you're saying, as soon as it's no longer part of a court case?
Well, it certainly is with this. Look, we believe in transparency. Congress has made transparency a part of the federal government by passing a very comprehensive law. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. And that law allows the public access to government documents with only certain exceptions. And I just talked about what some of those exceptions were when it comes to criminal investigations and prosecutions at the Justice Department. And anything that doesn't fall within those just a handful of exceptions, national security, grand jury, confidential informant information, or something that could compromise a current investigation, all of that is public. And the public has a right to that information. That's what the intent of the Freedom of Information Act was. And, it's funny to me, Annie, when you think about it, what has been so upsetting the left for the past month, it's, for example, DOGE publicizing how USAID has been wasting taxpayer funds. It's the public disclosure that is making them so upset.
Hans, this is Ryan. This is kind of a big question, but what is the legal justification for even having a statute of limitations on something like pedophilia?
Well, look, there are good reasons for statutes of limitations. The chief reason being that, witness testimony tends to get extremely foggy the longer and longer it is since an incident happened. I mean, think about things that happened to you, perhaps in your childhood or 20 years ago, and how well do you actually remember the details? And people's memories change after time. So there are good reasons for statute of limitations. Now, there are exceptions. Exceptions have been put in for some things, for example, that happen to you when you're a child, and oftentimes the statute of limitations for that may not start running until you actually become an adult, not from whatever time it happened to you. But no, there are good legal reasons for statutes of limitation.
We're speaking with Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I want to play for you here a clip. It's from a little bit earlier this morning, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Harris Faulkner for Fox News reporting on a Roberts ruling here.
Chief Justice John Roberts handed President Trump a victory. Justice Roberts put a last-minute hold on a lower court decision, and it would have required the Trump administration to release $2 billion in frozen foreign aid. That's on hold. President Trump had targeted that money in his mission to cut waste.
So can you talk to us a little bit about this ruling, everything that Donald Trump is trying to put in motion? If the left can challenge it in the courts, it's really their only avenue to try to stop him or most of the time slow him down. What can you say to us about this Chief Justice Roberts hold from that lower court ruling?
Well, that's exactly what he should have done. The trial judge, the lower federal judge who issued an injunction against the president had no basis on which to do that. And look, the most basic reason is that, for example, when Congress appropriates money, foreign aid money, for example, that it gives to the State Department and says, as an example, here's $1 billion that we've appropriated for you to give out in foreign aid. That appropriation doesn't say, oh, the money all has to be out by next month. It doesn't put deadlines. The appropriations are usually for the fiscal year. So the president and the State Department has a whole year in which to decide how and where to send that money. So for some judge to say, oh, if you don't immediately send it out, you're somehow violating the law, there's no basis for a ruling like that. And the Chief Justice was correct to step in and stop that judge from his actions.
Hans von Spakovsky speaking with us right now. We've watched Donald Trump bob and weave through a lot of legal challenges leading up to his presidency. And then, of course, we've seen a lot of legal challenges now that he has been the president, just like I said before, in order to slow him down a little bit. The DOGE efforts with Elon Musk and Elon Musk's tech support team, as he likes to refer to himself, they're working very hard to claw some of this money back that hasn't been spent so far. They are working on trying to figure out, what they're going to do next with these finances that they are able to reclaim. It's very innovative to me. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. I'm wondering if you're watching the efforts of Elon Musk's team that has been commissioned by Donald Trump, and are you seeing any legal peril for what is taking place with DOGE at this point?
No, despite court rulings to the contrary. And the reasons for that are very straightforward. The president, under the Constitution, is the head of the executive branch. He has a legal right to access every piece of information inside the executive branch, including classified information. So anyone who says that he can't, for example, give that same kind of access to Elon Musk and the folks working for him are wrong. And then the second big thing is it's not Elon Musk making decisions. It's not Elon Musk saying USAID has to do that. Elon Musk is making recommendations to the president, and it's the president issuing these executive orders. So again, those who somehow claim Elon Musk is doing something wrong, no, he doesn't have any executive authority. The president does. And if the president wants to get advice from Elon Musk or anybody else, including you and me, he can do that, and no judge can stop that.
Hans, when you were talking about some of these court orders that were coming from lower courts that they issue nationwide, and I don't even know the word, is it stays or injunctions or something like that? But when they issue these things that stop the president of the United States from doing a part of his job, is there a constitutional question as to whether that's actually legal in and of itself? Like, is there precedent that the president does have to follow an order like that, or is it murky?
Oh, no, I think many of these judges are acting unconstitutionally and going far beyond their authority. And the most basic thing for folks to remember, for example, is, look, there are 93 federal judicial court districts throughout the country. When you have a federal judge in Manhattan, his jurisdiction doesn't extend outside of that regional district where he's a judge. He doesn't have authority over things going on in California or Texas or elsewhere. And so these nationwide injunctions, often there is simply no basis for them, and they don't have authority for them. And in particular, most of these judges are ignoring the rules on standing.
Hans, is the only way to get those things thrown out that they rise to the Supreme Court?
Yes, unless you get a good court of appeals who is willing to step in and throw them out, then the ultimate decider on these issues is going to be the U.S. Supreme Court.
Hans, before we let you go, it's just kind of in that same vein there. I'm wondering if you have an eyebrow raised anywhere on the Supreme Court right now for potential retirements that might occur within Donald Trump's tenure.
Well, Justice Thomas is now, I think, one of the longest-serving members of the court ever. I certainly hope he doesn't leave because he is one of the brightest, best folks we've had on the court. But, he's been there a long time. I hope he continues, but I think it's a possibility that he might at some point take advantage of the fact that Trump is now president to retire. I haven't heard that he wants to, but I sure hope he doesn't.
Yeah, 76 years old. You just got to start making some decisions based on the long term. But yeah, he's the best on there right now, if you ask a lot of conservatives as well. Hans, we appreciate you. Thank you for being with us. Look forward to having you back next week.
Sure thing. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man. What we need to not have happen is a non-Republican replace Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, I think we're all eyeballing that a little bit.
And if you think about where the Senate is right now, I think that the midterm map for the Senate doesn't look terrible for Republicans.
No, it doesn't.
I think it's kind of a little bit more even, like maybe it stays, but you got 53 votes in the Senate right now that are Republicans.
It is going to be, you never want to leave anything to chance.
No.
But in a midterm, typically.
You want to leave anything to Vance?
Thank you very much. Hey, why don't we? I was going to make a great point, but we should just go to break.
Oh, go on. We're actually ending the show.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to leave anything to chance because in midterms, the opposing party tends to do better. But the Senate map for 2026 still favors Republicans pretty well. So it could, I would say right now, you'd think it'd probably stay at 52, 53 seats.
Sure don't want to be banging your head against the wall going, why did we do that?
Right.
76 years old. And his birthday's in June, so he'll be 77 this June. 1948.
He's not as old as Trump.
And he seems very with it.
Yeah.
So what do you say, folks? Age is just a number.
That's tomorrow's poll.
Today's poll is, are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts? We talked about this yesterday. I read an email from a listener who was very complimentary of the show, but wanted to give us a little point of reflection on the way we talk about these DOGE cuts, because they too, as Trump voters, as Republicans, are potentially looking at a very uncertain future due to these DOGE cuts. And the question that we have for you today is, are conservatives being too insensitive regarding these DOGE cuts? You can go vote. Tell us why you think yes or no. I'm not really 100% sure how this poll is going to go. I was thinking that maybe it'd be a little split, but I haven't looked at the results yet. I need you to come in and weigh in. Yesterday, we had a ton of people. We had almost 500 votes on yesterday's poll. And that process of me trying to get into the White House, it started at least, and I'll keep you updated with anything that I find out when I do. As Carolyn Levitt has said, hey, how about we get some local radio show hosts in here? And I'm sitting here going, okay, fine, I'll try. You guys motivated me. When we come back, Wiggins America, about?
Ways to have better conversations.
I don't know why we would need to do that.
I just feel like this is something we could all use a little bit of iron sharpens iron on.
Let's take a quick break. Wiggins America, next.
Scream about all the people you hate.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million? Or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from Camo Wax. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for financial and tax architects.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is online at igotfloor.com. Shop for flooring with people who don't hate you. It's kind of like a basic commerce, stipulation that I have when I go shop somewhere. If I find out that these people don't like who I am or what I believe or whatever, then I'm not going to go give my money to them. Michael's isn't like that. First of all, they like doing good business with good people and making a good deal for everybody involved. I think that's really kind of what is so American about a family-owned and operated business like Michael's Flooring Outlet's been in St. Louis for 3 decades, just killing it when it comes to the flooring business and always evolving forward, making sure that they are providing you that quality flooring product at a great price. You don't have to sacrifice quality for value. You work really, really hard for your money. You want to make sure that you're getting top quality. You don't want to go out and just get the absolute cheapest price because you know that in many cases you get what you pay for. Well, at Michael's Flooring Outlet, you still get great, great quality with your hard-earned dollar. And they care deeply about that. The top brands like the Mohawk Smart Strand carpet line, you can get that there at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Start your shopping online at igotfloor.com.
I can see clearly now thanks to the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and introducing Samuel Berry. You can too. Call 314-966-5000 or check out youridoc.com. That's youridoc.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here with a great announcement, especially everybody here at KFTK. St. Louis, I'm coming to you. March 22nd at the factory on stage. You're going to love this unscripted affair. It's going to be patriotic, inspirational, motivational. I'll go through all my books, give you the anecdotes inside Fox. We'll go over the news, the war on history, and the comeback of this guy, Donald Trump. Mark Reardon's going to join me on stage. Maybe some surprises in the lineup. But most of all, I want to see you. BrianKilmeade.com. Click on tickets. March 22nd at the factory.
Yeah, March 22nd. You can find those tickets also at our website, 971talk.com. And we did open up some VIP seats. We had sold them out, but I think we opened up a few of them the other day. I'll have to check and see if we still have those, but should still have a few since we just opened them up. You can check 971talk.com/events. Today's YouTube live chat poll: are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts? Let us know, yes or no. 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
97.1 is excited to welcome Brian Kilmeade back to St. Louis.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here. I have great news. I'm going to be joining all of you in St. Louis.
Be a part of this event.
March 22nd, St. Louis. You're going to love it.
Get tickets at briankilmeade.com. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Told him to play air drums, and Ryan's hitting the drums that are a foot above his head.
It's like playing the arcade game Kung Fu Panda.
I have less reference point for that.
Technically, you first asked if I could just play the drums, and then I said, "You mean the drums right now?" Like I could totally start to drum it out.
I said, "Hey, anybody in here, can you play the drums?" And Ryan and Brad were like, "Nope." And he's like, "Do you mean right now?" It's like, no.
That's a very Wiggins America thing, though, so that's what I thought you were going for.
Yeah. We never found out why you asked the question. Was there anything further, or you just
that
wanted
was
to
for
know?
off the air.
Oh.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah, you had like a deep, dark drum question.
I have a set of drums in my house, yeah.
Can you play?
I could keep a beat.
So that's why you were asking the question.
No, I mean...
It would be like me going, anybody ever been to Iceland? You guys like, no? Oh, I have. Let me tell you a story.
No, I wasn't going to talk. I wouldn't do it in front of anybody, like even in my family.
You just do private drumming for yourself?
Shut up.
Gotta take the edge off sometimes.
Stop it.
Oh, Mom's down playing the drums. Must have been a bad day. Nobody could hear her.
Stay upstairs. Lock the doors, kids.
Oh, man. Must have been a real day of work.
She's going to town.
She's down there.
Wipeout. She's playing Wipeout.
She just keeps doing the Phil Collins part.
Man, you guys
over and over on a loop.
No, that's just me falling over into things.
Stop.
Wait, I think she fell.
This is stupid. This is not what I wanted to have this conversation for. The only reason I said that is because I have a set of drums. I got it from some very kind people at church who had upgraded their drum set. They gave them to me to give to my son when he was like 3, but it's a full set of drums. And I have sat down to see if I could keep a beat in 2011 or 12.
And you could, clearly.
I could keep a beat, but it wasn't anything that anybody would want to hear.
Because now it's a
I was
huge stress
wondering
reliever.
if you could, any of you could play drums. I was going to open up the set of drums that I have in my basement for some content, which now I think all three of you should have a drum off.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun.
Really I'm down. I don't have to be good.
Yeah.
Can we play the intro here?
Yeah.
So we can
Wiggins!
better conversation.
Forgot it was Wiggins America.
Anyway,
It's really just an example.
cool story.
Lead it.
But just a real quick other story than what I brought too. Man, I'm telling you right now, if you visit Iceland, it is so gorgeous. And I know you guys haven't been, but you just get in a car and you drive south to Vik from Reykjavik. Unbelievable. You're going to see waterfalls like you've never seen. No guardrails, nothing.
Okay,
It's
Trump,
empty
stop
country.
it. Stop it. Like you've never seen. It's beautiful. Like no one's ever seen, except for the other people who've been to Iceland.
Right, those people have seen it. High tourism area. But change your life.
Second only to Dolly World.
That is not a place. Dolly World?
Do the thing. Come on, let's go. Keep it going.
All right. These are this is how you have better conversations with people.
Should have started the show
Number
with
one, I'm not kidding. Number one is stay on topic.
Oh, is it really? How does we stop interrupting?
Ryan, did you know that this was number one going in?
Oh, no, I don't look at these ahead of time.
Okay, got
Stay
it. Okay.
on topic.
Stay on topic. In the same way you put thought into your outfit before attending an event,
Not going well.
it's
here.
smart to prepare some conversation topics that could be relevant to the group.
Before you get dressed in the morning, do you know what you're going to wear?
Nope.
Are you as surprised as everybody else?
Like, wow.
Look at me go.
Look at that. I've
came
worn
together.
that shirt several times,
Yeah.
but wow. Really filling that out well today.
It hurts to laugh so much. No more laughing.
All that
Everything's
burrito
serious.
really makes me look better in the belly.
Ow.
What's wrong?
I'm training again. And everything hurts. The second day is post.
Fine. Okay, fine. None of us are training. Tell us your story about training.
You just talked about how your burrito made your belly fill out better.
That's my training.
Stay on topic. Go point two.
Ryan, you hold all the keys now because you can make her laugh, and that's painful for her.
That's true. So one thing you're going to want to remember, Annie, and Brad, and Ethan to a lesser extent,
I feel loved.
is to bring in more topics.
Yeah, I just told you guys to do that recently.
Yeah, you did. And I've been doing a bang-up job. Yesterday, I told a story.
We haven't had dead air.
Yeah, that's how we know we're winning. All right, that was the first one, is staying on topic. The next one is asking more questions about your friends and your coworkers.
What kind of questions?
You can never ask too many questions. Although, here's one of the problems they say. Now, don't do these, though. Don't do what's called boomerasking, which is really...
Boomer? Wait, no,
has nothing
like
to do with
boomerang.
Boomerang.
Not
where really you're asking a
Not
question
like those
because
insurance
you want to tell a
commercials.
story about something you do in the basement.
So don't go like, have you ever been to Iceland?
Don't do that. Yeah.
Because I have.
Right. You don't want to do that. You also don't want to ask gotcha questions. This is when you ask a question. I don't know why you do this to a friend, but
I think you do.
To test someone else's knowledge. I hate when I get those.
How about when you do it? Do you hate when you do it to other people?
Ryan's not really a gotcha question.
I think
kinda
that's a
guy.
gotcha question, and I'm not going to answer that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Touche.
And
Did you
then
hate that?
repeated questions. Don't repeat the same questions over and over just to try to get more information about the same thing. Do you
Who
ever do
does
that?
No,
Do you
not
ever
that
do
I
that?
can think of.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever do that? Do you ever do that?
You're doing it right now.
It's like living with 4-year-olds.
Next one. Levity.
Mm-hmm. Levity and brevity.
Pre-planning your topics and focusing on asking the right questions is as important as facilitating fun.
What kind of conversations are these supposed to be? These like business conversations?
No, this is just general
friends?
conversations with
You're
your
supposed to-
friends.
you're supposed to prepare your
Prepare
conversations
your
with
topics ahead
friends.
of time. Don't ask gotcha questions. Don't ask questions that are just trying to get you to the place where you're telling a story
I
about
don't think
yourself.
that these people have friends.
Can we confirm that if the person that wrote this has friends? Because I'm starting to wonder.
They probably
I'll
don't
look
have
that up
friends, so they're going to try
afterwards.
these things.
Yeah, they write for CNBC, so my assumption
Probably
is
not.
they do not have a social life. And don't ask repeated questions. Remember that. Now, again, levity. You want to make sure that your conversations should be, this is what it says. Conversations should be a good time. But make sure that you have some substance to that conversation, too. I always say this. Last one.
Aren't your favorite conversations with your friends the ones that have no substance?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. But then
The ones that, like, if you went and repeated the conversation to someone else, it wouldn't hit. It wouldn't have the same. But when you're with your friends and you're double over laughing for something so silly,
wheezing.
Yeah, when I tell somebody, oh, you wouldn't believe what we said on the Annie Fry show yesterday. People are like, that sounds stupid. I'm like, yeah, but you can listen to it in real time.
Thanks.
And then it's real funny though, I promise.
Yeah, we laughed hard.
We had a good time. I don't know if anybody else did. Last one is just kindness. Just make sure to be kind when you're asking questions and talking to your friends.
What percentage of these things do you do?
100%.
Of what?
100%. 100% of the time too.
This is a live recording of Ryan Wiggins drumming in my basement. All right, let's take a break. We're going to talk about school education, the education system in the next hour. You're going to want to hear it. We'll be right back.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 50% off all windows and 0% interest for 6 years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
Mark Cox here. Are you looking for the perfect start to your child's education? At Kirk Day School, the early childhood program for ages 3 and 4 is where your little one will learn to thrive. They have hands-on activities, nurturing teachers, and a biblical worldview. You can attend their early childhood open house Friday, March 7th, meet the dedicated educators, and tour their Christ-centered classrooms. To register for their early childhood open house and learn more, visit kirkdayschool.org.
It's time again for the annual Apache Village RV Trade Day. Hook up your camper and join us Friday, February 28th and Saturday, March 1st in Hazelwood at 1901 Dunn Road or Wentzville at 971 Wilmer Road for a kids' s'more bar, warm drinks, and free trade evaluation. We guarantee $1,000 over the national average with purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. Up to 25% off MSRP. Prices will never be better. Spring camping is right around the corner. Check out all of our new 2025 Jayco, Keystone, Fleetwood, and Bontrager Outdoors inventory. Mention this 97.1 ad for a chance at $500 to our parts store. Our commitment to you starts when you enter the door. Again, we guarantee $1,000 over the national average with purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. Go one better. Go Apache Village RV in Hazelwood and in Wentzville, February 28th and March 1st. Trade value dependent on condition of unit and time of delivery.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba, and right now, medical information is not regularly being shared within the research community, but you can help change that. Patients can help accelerate research by sharing their information and unique experience.
Everyone's experience with cancer matters, including my own.
If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to play a part in accelerating cancer research and uncovering new breakthroughs simply by sharing your patient data with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to some of the people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients like Maeve, Bridget, and Joel in this movement.
For our family.
For our friends.
For us all.
The information is out there. Together we can unlock it. Join in at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A thank you to the president. Lisa Brady, Fox News, during an Oval Office meeting between President Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, focusing first on the U.S. push for peace between Ukraine and Russia.
Thank you for changing the conversation to bring about the possibility that now we can have a peace deal, and we want to work with you to make sure that peace deal is enduring, that it lasts, that it's a deal that goes down as a historic deal that nobody breaches, and we'll work with you to make sure that that absolutely happens.
This follows a visit from the French president earlier this week and talk of a European peacekeeping force. Ukraine's president expected to visit the White House tomorrow to sign an economic deal that includes access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals.
It's really going to get us into that country. We'll be working there. We'll have a lot of people working there. And so in that sense, it's very good. It's a backstop, you could say. I don't think anybody's going to play around if we're there with a lot of workers.
President Trump also says it's a way for the U.S. to get back billions of dollars spent on the war in Ukraine. The prime minister also presenting the president with an invitation from King Charles for a historic second state visit to the U.K. It's like a tragic Hollywood mystery. The death of iconic actor Gene Hackman, found dead in his New Mexico home yesterday, along with his wife and one of their dogs.
And what we're learning is that the bodies of Gene Hackman and his 64-year-old wife, Betsy Arakawa, were apparently discovered by maintenance workers who hadn't seen the couple for around 2 weeks. Now, according to a search warrant we've obtained, Hackman was found in a mudroom in his house, his wife in a bathroom next to a space heater, an open prescription bottle and pills nearby.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. For now, that investigation continues. Hackman was 95. Clint Eastwood says there was no finer actor, intense and instinctive. He was his co-star in Unforgiven, one of Hackman's 2 Oscar-winning roles. America is listening to Fox News.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperature's a good 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, but still pretty easy to take. 59 sunny skies, a little windy, clear and chilly tonight. Let's drop it back to 36. Friday, sunny, windy, and warm, 70. Friday afternoon, it's not going to last. A dry cold front coming through Friday night. Colder for the weekend. Saturday, sunny and 48. Sunday, sunny and 46. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Did you all hear what's going on with these energy mandates? You know, I've been told they don't make a lot of sense, and I'm in the business. I agree 100%. Actually, they make 0 sense. So here's the easiest thing, and the only thing I have on a recommendation. You're going to need a new furnace or a new air conditioner. Just call me for a just common sense approach to your heating and cooling needs for your house. If your system is old or you just want to replace a system, now just call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest and the only one, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. Again, it's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it's bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Join me and the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee for the Lincoln Trump Dinner Friday, March 21st at Old Hickory Golf Club. Get your tickets now and learn about sponsorship opportunities at 971talk.com/events.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. So the Prime Minister of Great Britain, or is it the United Kingdom?
UK.
Why is this so complicated?
There's a lot of versions. Mm-hmm. It's not just England anymore.
Well, the UK.
Well, England is part of the UK.
Yeah, right.
UK. You got
is
it.
that what they say in Iceland?
You just got to go there.
Like, isn't Great Britain over?
He's the prime minister, and he's here with Donald Trump, and they're sitting and they're talking. And I know that there was a letter that was presented to Donald Trump, signed by the king. We signed a letter and sent it to the king once. Anyway, that's different. Let's listen into this conversation going back and forth because they're having a chat about the ending of the war in Ukraine. Let's listen in.
Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already landed.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Obviously, this involves, there's an English element here, so obviously it's important that justice is done, and human trafficking is obviously, to my mind, a security risk, and so we'll catch up with the story in due course.
You're aware? Are you aware? I didn't know anything about it. Yeah.
Mr. President, veterans make up 30% of the federal workforce. Are you tracking how many veterans have been fired so far?
Yes, we are. We are, and we take good care of our veterans, so we're watching that very carefully, and we hope it's going to be as small a number as possible. But we are having great success in slimming down our government. It's been really very successful, and some took payouts and buyouts, and others took other things, and some people we're finding out don't even exist. We're finding that we have a lot of people that don't exist, that people thought that did. We will be making a statement on that, but we're taking care of our veterans. We love our veterans. We're going to take good care of them.
Okay, please. Mr. President, could you be persuaded as part of a peace settlement in Ukraine to provide air cover, a backstop security position to the contributions that Europe might make as well?
Well, so President Zelensky's coming to see me on Friday morning, And we're going to be signing really a very important agreement for both sides because it's really going to get us into that country. We'll be working there. We'll have a lot of people working there. And so in that sense, it's very good. It's a backstop, you could say. I don't think anybody's going to play around if we're there with a lot of workers and having to do with rare earths and other things, which we need for our country. And we appreciate it very much. And I look forward to seeing him. We'll be talking about it, and we'll also be talking about that today with the Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, we've already indicated that we'll play our full part in making sure that any deal, if there is one, and I hope there is, and I think this is a historic moment to make sure it's a lasting deal, and we're about to have a discussion about how we can make that work.
But I have to say this, as I said yesterday, you know, you're talking about a peacekeeping force. We have to make a deal first. Right now, we don't have a deal. We have Russia, we have Ukraine. I think we're very well advanced. I think Russia has been acting very well. We have Representatives Steve Witkoff and Scott and Marco and JD. We're all involved, every one of us, and a lot more. But I think we're very well advanced on a deal, but we have not made a deal yet. So I don't like to talk about peacekeeping until we have a deal. I like to get things done. I don't want to give it the bad luck sign. We don't want to do that. But we've had very good talks with Russia. We've had very good talks, as you know, with Ukraine. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, does the Prime Minister have to choose a closer relationship with the EU as he is seeking and a good trade relationship with you? Which one should you go for?
Well, I think we have just a great relationship. We actually had a good relationship before. We've met a couple of times, and I'm very impressed with him. I'm very impressed with his wife, I must say. She's a beautiful, great woman. And I said you're very lucky. He's very lucky. And no, we've had a very good relationship.
He's worried about Britain potentially undoing some of the benefits of Brexit by seeking a closer tie with the EU, who you said was set up to screw.
No, I don't worry about that. I thought, you know, frankly, what they did was the right thing at the time, and I think that'll probably prove out over the centuries. You have a long time to go, but I think I predicted that was going to happen, and it did happen, and it'll work itself out. I think it's already worked itself out. Yes.
Mr. President, can I ask on Chagos, Mr. President? Keir Starmer has signed a deal to give away the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Will you approve that deal?
Well, we're going to have some discussions about that very soon, and I have a feeling it's going to work out very well. They're talking about a very long-term, powerful lease, a very strong lease, about 140 years, actually. That's a long time. And I think we'll be inclined to go along with your country. Yeah, I think it's a little bit early. We have to be given the details, but it doesn't sound bad. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you obviously can do business with our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. You said yesterday that the EU was constructed to screw the US when it comes to trade. What can our Prime Minister say to you to persuade you not to impose tariffs on the United Kingdom?
Yeah, did I use the word that you said, that bad word?
I think so.
Well, I think that the EU, I've had problems with the EU because, and we're not talking about, we happen to have a great relationship with you, but we did have, and we do have problems with the EU because they've tariffed us. They do it in the form of a VAT tax, which is about 20%, and many other taxes. They sue our companies. They sued Apple. Got $16 or $17 billion, which was, I think, totally a ridiculous decision. And they're suing Google for a lot of money. They're suing a lot of other companies. And we don't like the way they're treating our people now. We don't like the way they're treating our companies. They sell us cars. We don't sell them cars. They don't take our cars. They don't take much of our agriculture. And we have a deficit with them of about $350 billion. So I wouldn't say it's been such a great relationship personally, but other people did because it's politically correct to say that it's been good, but it hasn't been good. And we're going to change that. And we are going to have reciprocal tariffs. We're not going to have tariffs. We're going to have reciprocal. Whatever they charge us, we're going to charge them, which for many years, foolishly, I would have done that, but then all of a sudden we had COVID and we had other things to think about. So it took me a little while to get that on, but we had, in my first 4 years, we had the greatest economy in the history of, I think, the world, but certainly in the history of our country. I think we're going to have that again. But the EU was very, very tough on us from the standpoint of trade. Then you could take it a step further and go into NATO. And that was a very tough situation for us. I mean, that's been a very tough situation because we were paying a disproportionate share, and it wasn't good. So, as you know, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars after I got involved, and they evened it out a little bit, but not very much. And then if you look at the war, we're in for $300 billion plus, and they're in for $100 billion. They get their money back, and now we'll get our money back also. But under Biden, you wouldn't have done that. Biden did a terrible job, I have to say. I hate to say that about somebody that sat here just before me, but he did a terrible, terrible job. That war should have never happened, the war between Russia and Ukraine. Frankly, October 7th should have never happened. Israel, that should have never happened. What happened there should have never. Inflation should have never happened. Afghanistan should have never happened. The way they got out, not getting out, but the way they got out. So, but I can say that as far as we're here for a different reason, we're talking about a very different place, and this is some place that I have investments there. I own Turnberry, I own Aberdeen, and I own a great place called Doonbeg in Ireland. So, you know, I have a great warm spot for your country.
And our trade, obviously, is fair and balanced, and in fact, you've got a bit of a surplus, so we're in a different position there. And obviously, we've contributed hugely in relation to Ukraine, and taken together with Europe, there's about 50%
It'll work.
still in.
It'll work. It's going to work.
Thank you. So does that mean there won't be any sanctions on the UK then?
We'll have to take a look. I mean, we're going to have a good discussion today, and we have some very talented people on the other side, and we have some people that probably aren't as talented as them, but they're pretty good. Marco, what do you think? Our people are pretty good. And no, we're going to have a good discussion, and we'll be talking about that.
Mr. President, Mr. Starmer, Prime Minister, has said that he believes that Vladimir Putin would be at risk of invading Ukraine again without a sufficient backstop. Do you think that Vladimir Putin would be likely to invade again in the event of a peace deal?
I don't think so. I think when we have a deal, it's going to be the deal. I don't think if I didn't win the election, I don't think we'd be even talking to Putin right now or anybody else. I think it would just, you know, I don't know if you're looking at the stats, but thousands of people are being killed a week, soldiers mostly, because the towns have been destroyed. But thousands of soldiers. This was a very bad week, by the way. I get the stats.
Terrible numbers.
And you're talking about a human life. Number one, I want to see that, and it doesn't involve American soldiers, but it's Russian and Ukrainian soldiers, and I think I'm speaking for both.
Yeah.
Number one, we want to see that stop, and number two, I want to stop paying the kind of money that we're talking about. You know, we're helping, and we're helping NATO, but we're helping a lot, more than anybody else by far, and I want that to stop also.
Mr. President, the European...
Jeff, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. You talked about trade tariffs this morning on your social media site. Just a question about China. 10% tariffs has already been implemented on China. Are you planning to do
an additional 10 above the 10?
This will be an additional 10 above. And is there, from the talks with Canada and Mexico so far, are you not seeing the progress that you wanted in order to
I don't see it at all. No, not on drugs. We've done a great job. If you look at Tom Homan, he's been incredible, and Christie, they've done a great job in terms of the border. But the drugs continue to pour into our country, killing hundreds of thousands of people. We're losing substantially more than 100,000 people. I mean, dead. They're dead. The families are destroyed after that happens. So it's, you know, it's not just that. That's the ultimate. But the families are absolutely destroyed. The drugs come in through Mexico. They come, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them come from China. And that's why we did that. It's 10 plus 10. In
10
case,
plus 10.
was there confusion on that?
There was, sir, yeah.
Okay, 10 plus 10. It's a second 10. And I think you'll, I think you're going to see, eventually you're going to see drugs stopping, because the country should not be allowing those drugs to come into the United States of America. And we're not going to allow it to happen. So that goes on the 4th of March. And then on the 2nd of April, we have reciprocal tariffs. That's reciprocal, where we charge countries what they're charging us. And nobody should have a problem with that. We have reciprocal. It's reciprocity. It's something that I think Everybody I've spoken to said that's fair, and it is. If somebody charges us 25%, we charge them 25. If somebody charges us 10 or 15 or 30 or 70, we charge them an exact like amount. And it's pretty simple, but it's reciprocal tariffs because the United States has been taken advantage of by many, many different countries, including our friends, friend and foe. And in many cases, our friends took bigger advantage of. When you talk about the EU, we're talking about the EU. The EU has been really very bad to us in terms of trade. And I'm a different kind of a president. I can't let that happen. Thank you. Please, ma'am, go ahead.
Mr. President, what would you be willing to do if Vladimir Putin did not stick to the terms of any deal on Ukraine?
If he not what?
If he did not stick to the terms of any deal on Ukraine, because he has a history of not sticking to his word when it comes to international agreements.
I think he'll keep his word. I think I've spoken to him. I've known him for a long time now. You know, we had to go through the Russian hoax together. That was not a good thing. It's not fair. That was a rigged deal and had nothing to do with Russia. It was a rigged deal with inside the country, and they had to put up with that too. They put up with a lot. It wasn't just us. They had to put up with it, with a phony story that was made up. I've known him for a long time now, and I think he will. I don't believe he's going to violate his word. I don't think he'll be back. When we make a deal, I think the deal's going to hold. Now, they're going to have security. You're going to have security. You're going to have soldiers. I know France wants to be there. The president has said he wants to have soldiers there. I don't think we're going to even be necessary, but I don't think there'll be any problem with keeping the deal with the security.
You want to say something? No, I was just going to say, I mean, the deal, if we get it, is going to be hugely important. I don't think it would have happened if the space hadn't been created for it by yourself. But if there's a deal in, we've got to make sure it's a deal that lasts, that is not temporary, that lasts, and that's why we need to make sure that it's secure, and we've lent in and said we'll play our part, and we've talked and we will talk about how we work with yourself, Mr. President, to ensure that this deal is something which is not violated, because it's very important that if there is a deal, we keep it.
And that will be, and I think I can say that will be the easy part. That's the part we look forward to, because putting security there, that's the part we all look forward to. That's easy. The difficult part is getting the deal made. So, but I think we've come a long way. Did you have something? He's got such a nice face. He's smiling. But watch, he'll ask a total killer question. Those are the ones
a long time.
They're the ones that get you. No, he looks like a nice guy.
On a personal level, Mr. President, what do you get on most? What's your common ground with Sir Keir Starmer? Because you're both from different political backgrounds.
It's true. I think I can say this because we've known each other now really for a little while. This is not our first meeting, as you know. He loves his country, and so do I. That's our common theme. He loves his country, and I love our country. And we also have two countries that have gotten along for the longest period of time. Right? Number one ally on each side. And we have good. France and Australia, we have a lot of good ones. But we've had a long-time relationship, a long time, hundreds of years. And we like each other, frankly, and we like each other's country, and we love our country. And I think that's our common thread.
Donald Trump speaking from the White House with the Prime Minister, the British Prime Minister, Starmer there, and kind of a love fest. One of the things that we just heard the Prime Minister say is this deal would not have been happening if you wouldn't have made the space for it, Mr. Trump. That is credit where credit is due. And if this war ends up being resolved this quickly in the first 6 months of Donald Trump's first year of his second term, pretty impressive, if you ask me. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Corey DeAngelis is going to join us. We've talked to him many times about the education system. And as you know, we are waiting on the confirmation. We don't have a confirmation yet on the Secretary of Education, do we? I don't think we do. McMahon, she is been nominated for this position. And a lot of the people talking about the Department of Education say we should get rid of it. Now, of course, there's a lot of people who are going to advocate against that. It's a discussion that needs to be had. And if we're able to listen to those people and they make a solid case for keeping the Department of Education as a way to enrich and educate the children of our country, let's hear the conversation. We're going to throw at Corey DeAngelis when we come back some of those things that are being shared quite a bit from the education community on why the Department of Education should stay. Corey DeAngelis next.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So when you go to get your mortgage for your new home, there's always so much paper to move and pass, and there's so much to do. And if you've got a good realtor, you're going to go through and you're going to, get that house acquired. They're going to fight for you. They're going to make sure everything gets done in the right way. But there are a lot of different things that you have to make the decision on, like, for instance, what insurance you're going to use for homeowners insurance, inspections, appraisals, all that stuff. When it comes to your mortgage, I want you to give Stewie a call. I want to make sure that you're getting the best possible deal, because when you don't have to pay closing costs, when it comes time to complete that mortgage purchase for that new home, that'll save you a lot of money. So get a second opinion. If you've been recommended someone, that's fine, but get a second opinion by reaching out to Stewie and ask him about the bagel loan. Because when you get that mortgage with the bagel loan, you can get the same low rates you might get anywhere else, but you're going to be able to go through the process without any closing costs. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Tell Stewie Annie sent you. Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough to retire? Discover how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey guys, it's Dave Glover here. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience, and they're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security, paying for health care, and more. There's no cost. We would ask that you bring 3 canned goods that we're going to pass on to the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. So you have 2 jobs when it comes to retirement, in my humble opinion. One is saving the money, putting it away. And then the other, just as important, is how do you take it out and what do you do with it after that? Find out at Retirement Planning 101. Simply call 314-350-8110. Again, no money necessary. 314-350-8110. 350-8110.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you have a furnace that needs service, a heat pump that needs repairs, or a boiler that needs to be replaced, contact Air Comfort Service. They offer 24/7 emergency heating service too. AirComfortService.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Monday afternoon, some on the left are calling it a constitutional crisis, but Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal calls it Trump's constitutional cleanup, and she'll join me at 3:25.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
At the end of the day, to me, if we don't make these dollars competitive, right? And I've heard, I got sued by teachers' unions over this and everything else. And every time they complained and were screaming about this, it was always about what it was doing to them. And no one was talking about what it's doing to the kids. And they don't have their own union, just to be clear. So we need to have national school choice in this country. There's got to be access for everybody, no matter what, and everybody can access these funds.
So Congressman Riley Moore of West Virginia pushing for school choice right now, I think, is a very important thing to be discussing. And we're gonna talk with our next guest here about the Secretary of Education, Donald Trump's pick, Linda McMahon, And we're in a place right now where we're seeing transformation in the way the United States government functions, in the way we respect the taxpayer dollar, the way we give government back to the people. I don't know why we would expect anything less from our education system under this new administration, which is why we bring our friend Corey DeAngelis back on the show, senior fellow at the American Culture Project, adjunct scholar at the Cato Institute, and executive director at the Educational Freedom Institute. Corey, welcome back to the show. I love having these conversations with you. I'm very passionate about it, but I don't know anybody who's more passionate about it than you are, Corey.
Hey, Annie, thanks for having me.
You know, I reached out to you, and I'd seen something that had been shared online, and I thought, you know what, I want to go straight to Corey with this. And having looked at it, I saw it had been shared 229,000 times on Facebook. 4,000 comments, 7,000 reactions. And it was just basically, I'm just going to read it to you, Corey, and we're going to go through this, and you're going to tell me whether this person has a point when it comes to the Department of Education or whether or not this is misguided. And it says, for all of you applauding President Trump and Elon Musk for tearing down the Department of Education, y'all need to go back to school or even do a simple search on the old interwebs because you have zero clue what the Department of Education actually does. And I really hope none of you have kids with IEPs or 504 plans, because you're about to find out the really hard way just how much this department does to protect their education. Now, the first thing it lists as a reality check on what the Department of Education actually does is it said it protects students with disabilities, enforces IEPs, which is an individual education program, and 504 plans under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That's IDEA, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Without this, schools would refuse accommodations to kids who seek them. Corey, I hear this the most. If we get rid of the Department of Education, what happens to these students with disabilities?
I mean, the person who posted this, I hope those 7,000 reacts are all laugh emojis because they don't know what they're talking about. And for them to scold the rest of us and act like they're so much more intelligent than the rest of the population who wants to abolish the department when they haven't even read the bill themselves is beyond parody. But if they were to read the bill, they'd understand that. And the bill's by Senator Mike Rounds, a Republican out of South Dakota. It's called Returning Education to the States Act. It doesn't really change a lot of these things that are listed in this post, but it does block grant the money back to the states based on the amount of students that you have in your particular state. So on the question of students with special needs, all of those programs would move under the Department of Health and Human Services. So that doesn't just go away. None of this funding goes away. If anything, it provides more education funding because you're wasting less of it on useless bureaucrats in D.C. thousands of miles away. They currently employ about 4,400 useless bureaucrats in D.C. under the Department of Education. That funding would go back to the states through the Department of Treasury in the form of block grants. So I live in Texas, for example. We have 10% of the nation's K-12 kids. We'd get about 10% of the funding. And so you'd have more local control. That funding would go back to the states to spend on education as they see fit. So a lot of these points that are in the post, civil rights protections for students, that moves under the Department of Justice. If you're really concerned about Pell Grants for college or student loans, that moves under the Department of Treasury as well. We can talk separately, Annie, about whether we should have the federal government involved in the student loan business. I don't think they should be. But the specific bill that's on the table that has any legitimate chance of passing that people are rallying behind is this one from Mike Rounds, which literally sends education back to the states. So and any useful programs that are currently under the Department of Education would move elsewhere.
So the vacating of the Department of Education at a federal level, there's a plan and process for these IEPs, the 504s, the IDEA or the IDEA Act or whatever it is. There's the other points here, and you kind of addressed some of these.
And by the way, does that currently lead to great academic and other outcomes for kids with special needs? No, it's a form of box checking currently. So we should look into that to make them even better. But just because you're in a school that's regulated by the federal government right now that says you have to do a good job for kids with special needs, they're not doing that right now. And so we should make sure we look at the implementation of these programs as they currently are, as opposed to this perfect, idea of how they ought to work. They don't really work out in practice as well as the defenders of the status quo would like you to believe. But the reality is these would move under the Department of Health and Human Services.
We're speaking with Corey DeAngelis, a fierce fighter for school choice and for better outcomes, successful outcomes for our students in an education system right now that's failing them. One of the things that the consistent threads that I noticed in this post, just the short versions of the bullet points, are ensures equal access to education and talks about enforcing Title IX. It goes on to talk about providing federal education funding, sending billions to public schools, Title I schools, which are low-income students, special education programs, Pell Grants for college students, which you addressed, oversees federal student loans. That system's just fantastic. Holds schools accountable. Now, that one caught my eye, and I'm like, that's a good thing. Hold schools accountable, because we have a suffering education system. Our students are not performing the way they should. Hold schools accountable. And then when I read the description here from this Kim Dixon post on Facebook that's been shared 229,000 times, this is what they want to attach to holding schools accountable. Investigates discrimination, ensures civil rights laws are followed, and prevents fraud in higher education. Where are the results of the education, the failing schools? What about holding those schools accountable?
They're not holding anything accountable. And if you look at the Department of Education, it started in 1979 as a payoff by Jimmy Carter to the teachers union. He wanted the NEA's endorsement. And it was created in part, one of their goals was to eliminate achievement gaps. Has that happened? No, they've gotten worse. Academic outcomes haven't gotten better. They've actually declined. And we've spent about $2 trillion since the inception at the federal level alone. And that doesn't even get into the point that this federal department is unconstitutional. The word education is not in the U.S. Constitution. It's therefore a violation of the 10th Amendment. And all of these things that are theorized that this department's supposed to do, like hold schools accountable. We already have departments of education in every single state. They can hold their schools accountable better than the federal government. And if you look at even the things that Trump's trying to do with his executive orders, like banning indoctrination in schools, I think that's a step in the right direction. But you can tell that they don't have any intention on listening to Trump. And maybe he wins this battle in the end, but it might take a long time. And it's very difficult from the federal level, these things that go on behind closed doors. Here's an example. I live in Texas, and we actually have things going on pretty well when it comes to our state government. And we banned DEI and we banned critical race theory in public schools. Guess what? They're still doing it. And we've caught them on camera. Accuracy in Media is an organization that does undercover journalism. And we went into public schools talking to their administrators all across the state. And we asked, are you going to listen to Abbott's order to not teach CRT? And they'll say, oh no, we're just gonna, don't worry about it. We'll just move the goalpost. We'll call it social emotional learning. And we're gonna, at the end of the day, the teachers are gonna do what they want. That's why I think school choice is so important. We should try to tweak the system from the top down and do what we can to make things better. But the ultimate form of accountability is from the bottom up. People need to be able to vote with their feet so that when they go to the school board and they complain, they won't get their mic cut off anymore. They won't be called a domestic terrorist anymore. They won't be labeled as an evil person, just being a parent who cares about their kids. They'll actually have a school board that says, hold up, I should listen to this person because they can actually do something about it now. They have the power to vote with their feet.
Yeah, I'm always amused at the fact that, like, if school choice exists, people could still choose the public education system. If it's not like that becomes a non-factor for our society to be able to invest in what they've got right now. They could continue to choose it, and you would think it would be better.
If you like your public school, you can keep your public school.
Yes, amen.
For real this time, unlike with your doctor and Obama's lies.
And you talk
public
about
schools actually do get better too with competition.
Exactly, they'd have an incentive to. You talk about bringing that education system even more local, because the things that this post is saying that the Department of Education provides would go to other departments and back to the states. That makes it more local, and you're saying the states can hold the education system more accountable. But, the natural part of what you're saying is that constituents, taxpayers, parents in those states can hold their state representatives more accountable quicker than they can potentially hold the Department of Education, a federal entity, accountable for failing schools.
Yeah, exactly. The most local form of accountability is foot voting. The family unit is the most local level of control that we have, the most local level of governance that we have, and the best form, because they know their kids best. They have the best incentive to get the decisions right about their kids' education, and it works like this in every other industry too. If we don't like what we're getting with higher education or pre-K, we can vote with our feet somewhere else. We don't like the grocery store we're at, we can go somewhere else. We don't have to go argue to a grocery store board as to why they should listen to us. By the way, they would just say they'd have empty shelves and they'd tell us, well, just give us more money and we'll do better, and then nothing would ever change. And that's what we have with the public school system.
Amen to that. We're speaking with Corey DeAngelis. I want to shift to the other half of this post. Like I said, 229,000 shares on Facebook. So once it gets put into like the union groups, then they all share it, and then it gets out there, and then people are like, well, this kind of makes a good point, but it's not really well informed. When you and I discussed this before, and I read this part, I told you this post is actually making me more in favor of getting rid of the Department of Education, because it says, I'm going to read to you just briefly here. What does the Department of Education not do? So this post, an advocate for keeping the Department of Education, wants to highlight some of the things that might be misconceptions about what the Department of Education does. They say it doesn't do this. It says it does not control what your kids learn. State and local school boards decide curriculum, textbooks, and what's taught in history or science class. Doesn't enforce any particular agenda on schools. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we don't need the Department of Education for that purpose. Does not run public schools. They're managed by the states and local districts. So if they're doing that already, why do we need the Department of Education?
Exactly.
Does not hire or fire teachers. Does not mandate Common Core. Does not regulate private schools. And does not set tuition prices for college. Public universities are funded by state governments, and they set their own tuition. So at the end of this post, I'm thinking to myself,
so what's the big deal? What's so wrong with getting rid of it?
Why do we need it? I mean, what do you say to those points, these people? And, you know, Corey, you and I both know there's a lot of good people who are in the education system who are being fed things repeatedly, and they don't quite understand how scary it wouldn't be if the Department of Education.
It's like they set up an entire form of a straw man argument to try to argue why we shouldn't abolish it, but no one's really, debating these issues when they're talking about abolishing the department. They're talking about constitutionality. They're talking about they're talking about moving these functions to other areas. Anybody that's serious that's talking about eliminating the department. And hopefully Linda McMahon gets confirmed on the floor. I think she will. She passed out a committee. I think it was like a 15-14 vote. All the Republicans voted in favor. I expect they'll do the same thing in the Senate floor vote. So hopefully she gets in there and body slams that unconstitutional department once and for all.
Yeah.
There is a problem with having to overcome a filibuster in the Senate. So hopefully if she can't kill it altogether, she can give it death by 1,000 cuts by trying to reduce the influence of the Department of Education. But you're right. If they aren't doing a lot already, what's the big deal? Why are they pulling their, it's all because it's Trump derangement syndrome on the left. They know Trump wants to do this. They know Republicans are in control, and all they can do is flail their arms and fearmonger and attack anything that's a good idea from the right. But the thing is, they create this basically a straw man, this thing that they're not actually arguing for to fight against, because they can't fight against the actual policy. Look at the bill, Returning Education to the States Act. It's not that crazy. It's not crazy at all. What's crazy is that we funnel billions of dollars to this federal department, which funds DEI programs in some cases, and doesn't really educate a single kid. What's crazy is that we don't give the money back to the states. So it's not as seismic of a shift as the left wants you to think. And in fact, Randy Weingarten, I'm sure people on this show know Randy Weingarten as the least liked union boss in our country's history. She's the teachers union president who lobbied the CDC to make it more difficult to reopen schools. She was just on MSNBC recently, basically saying that the federal government shouldn't run our schools. States and localities should run the schools. And it's like, oh, well, you're making an argument for abolishing the department. And when pressed on the issue of abolishing the department, she said something along the lines of her members, quote unquote, don't really care whether there's a federal department or not. Okay, if you don't really care, then if Randy's not even concerned about it, maybe it's not that big of a deal. She went on to say they're just concerned about the money. They really just want to make sure the money's still there. Okay, well, that's what the bill does. It sends the money back to the states. You'll have more money for K-12 education since you're not wasting it in D.C.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we can get some Democrats to vote for it, but I don't know because of the Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah. Corey DeAngelis, we appreciate you. I mean, I'll tell you this. When I'm looking through these very viral things, Facebook is usually the right platform where the majority of these things are being shared. They don't really talk about the kids. And they don't really talk about the standards of education. It's really more about preserving the status quo. And I think, to me, that is the biggest indicator as to let's totally remake this system and start with the kids and start with the education. Pay great teachers, great salaries, get rid of the bad ones, and go from there. And Corey, you're a leader on this, so we always love having your voice.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Now, we'll say Idaho just signed a universal school choice bill, becoming state number 14. My home state of Texas has 76 co-sponsors on our House bill to go all into. So the red states are doing the right thing to empower parents. Blue states need to get along with the program too.
Yeah, I would second that. Corey DeAngelis, thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. That's a really interesting conversation. You know, I see that post. When I saw that post on there, I was like, gosh, I'm going to have Corey. I had a private conversation with him on Twitter, and I was like, what do you think of this? Is this crazy? And then when I got through the whole thing reading it myself, I'm like, they just convinced me that we don't need the Department of Education because you're telling me all the things they don't do. Done. Deal. Let's go. Get rid of it. Fund it at the state level. And then we can, locally, on a state level, change out our politicians who are investing more in themselves and the structure and the system, the bureaucracy that exists to uphold people in positions that aren't making our kids learn what they need to do and read at the proper grade level and do math so that they can be independent, self-sufficient citizens one day. That's what it should be all about. If the bottom line isn't that, then we need a new bottom line. Great to speak with Corey DeAngelis and get some thoughts on that very viral post. Quick break where we come back. We've got a Newsweek article out on Jeffrey Epstein. What does it say? Don't go away. We'll tell you when we come back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
RulerFoods.com, saving on your groceries. You go to Ruler Foods and you just save because the prices are lower there. So you go stop at your Ruler Foods, which you haven't gone to yet, and you're taking my advice finally. You've gone to RulerFoods.com. You've put in your zip code and you found out, oh my gosh, there's one right around the corner from where I work. You go into Ruler Foods, you bring the quarter, you stick it in the cart, you get your card, and you start shopping, and therefore you start saving. You can save right now on fresh produce. We love to stock up our fridge and our fruit bowl that we have on the table there in our kitchen with great fresh produce from Ruler Foods. Strawberries right now, $2.49 per 1 pound package, and they are delicious strawberries. Avocados, 89 cents each. You want to put together some guacamole. We love Taco Tuesday, and that always goes with guacamole in the Fry House, and we love to get those fresh avocados from Ruler Foods for less. You can also save on Kroger 80% lean ground beef, or you can save on, that's $3.99 a pound, sold in a 3-pound roll. Kroger shredded or bar cheese, an 8-ounce package, 3 for $5. So stock up and save on your groceries when you shop at Ruler Foods. You can also schedule delivery. Find your Ruler Foods, load up your online card, get a delivery, and save at rulerfoods.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
What we know about the Epstein files coming up next. We get a little jumpy. The YouTube live chat poll is, are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts? Let us know what you think about that topic. It's a simple yes or no, but of course, a lot to be said about the topic. 150. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The Annie Fry Show.
Jonathan Lucroy is a former Major League Baseball catcher.
Thank you for what you do, by the way, Annie. I appreciate you being vocal as well. We need strong, moral people to keep speaking out and just call it out.
Weekdays from noon to 3. This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
It's about time that we set it off. Here we go. Red lights, I could never stop. A dreamer with the fever to be great was all I ever want, was all I ever wanted. A fighter with the fever for the fame was all I ever want, was all I ever wanted. Got me singing like bang, bang.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Newsweek's out with an article on the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and I'll just read to you a little bit from here. Newsweek, I'm going to give you the author so that we're doing it the right way. Sean O'Driscoll with Newsweek. He is a senior crime and courts reporter based in Ireland. Sean O'Driscoll.
He's got the news first, huh?
And he's Sean, S-E-A-N. That's the appropriate.
Oh, if he's in
Irish.
Ireland, yeah. It's
Sean.
S-E-A-N.
What to know, Epstein was known to entertain famous people on his island, Little St. James, in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He would often fly people to the island on his private jet, leaving a written record of who traveled there. 90 names have been unsealed from a lawsuit filed by Virginia. Is it Guffrey or Jeffrey or what is it?
I've always said Goffrey, actually. Gouffre.
God
There's
dang
another
it.
one.
Virginia G, an alleged trafficking victim against British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. I've heard it both.
That one I do know. Well, okay, never mind. Maybe I don't.
I've heard it that way. Ghislaine
Actually,
and
I've
Ghislaine.
heard it Ghislaine too.
Correct.
Never mind.
Why couldn't these people be named Sally?
Yeah.
Sally
Sally Jones.
Sally. Epstein's former girlfriend, that's Ghislaine or whatever. Maxwell, 61, is serving a 20-year prison sentence. She's still alive in jail. A lot of people wondered if she would not kill herself also after she was convicted in December 2021. She's been there for a minute. Of helping Epstein recruit and sexually abuse underage girls. Financier Epstein, who was accused of preying on underage girls as young as 14, took his own life at the age of 66 in a jail cell at New York's Metropolitan Correctional Center in August 2019 before he could stand trial in Manhattan on sex trafficking charges. Authorities determined he hanged himself. He always denied any wrongdoing. At the time, he was already a convicted sex offender after being found guilty of a Florida state court in 2008 of one count of soliciting prostitution and one count of soliciting prostitution from a minor. Names appearing in the flight logs released in January 2024 are no indication of wrongdoing. The vast majority are believed to have been on Epstein's island for legitimate business, social, or political reasons. New York federal judge Loretta Preska found no legal justification for continuing to withhold the names and ordered the release. The names include Presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, who strenuously deny any wrongdoing. 4 of the names released were redacted because they are the name of alleged victims who traveled on Epstein's private jet. So this article lists names that have already been released. I don't think that any of this is new information, but this is just the setup to what is possibly coming down. We're still waiting on the release of information that might come from Pam Bondi's commitment that she made yesterday on Jesse Waters' show. She was talking about what was to be discovered, what she had, what was to be released. Let's listen.
One of the things a lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have, well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
So there's Pam Bondi, Attorney General. She's got the info. She's got the list. She's got the victim name. She said over 250 victims here, and we are waiting to find out the latest installation. That Newsweek article, a bit of a kind of a catch-you-upper on what we know up to this point. The details on what is going to come next, she says, are going to be flight logs. So if you listen to the Newsweek article, and I would assume that Jeffrey Epstein, who was a businessman, his entire purpose served wasn't to traffic people to his little St. James Island so they could have sex with minors, but that was certainly a part of it. The question is, who was involved with him to the extent that they were committing crimes? And I would assume there's a lot of people who have lawyered up.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, honestly, to clear your name, if you're in the clear, as much as to defend yourself from whatever might happen next.
Yeah, people have been getting ahead of that, too. I'm looking at the same thing as you are, Annie. I'm looking for official reports on names and stuff. They're just not released yet. There's a lot of talk on Twitter, but we can't report that.
Well, there's a like from the Newsweek article that was posted, there is a list that has been released. It was with that January release that was based on a court case, but that list doesn't indicate that those people have done anything wrong. They just might have been doing business with him, but they also might have been doing extracurriculars with him or through him. The YouTube live chat poll, let's discuss this when we come back. Are conservatives being too insensitive regarding the DOGE cuts? People are losing their jobs. They're real humans. They're real people. You might even know somebody. You might even be one of them. Are conservatives not thinking about the humanity around this enough? Vote on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 50% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 2 years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
More questions about the death of Gene Hackman. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Sheriff's officials in New Mexico say there were no obvious signs of foul play, but now also say they're not ruling it out after the actor and his wife were found dead in separate rooms in their Santa Fe home.
The bodies were discovered on Wednesday, as we understand it, by a couple of maintenance workers who regularly went to the property but said they had not seen the couple for around 2 weeks. That's when the sheriff's deputies went, and they, looking at the scene, didn't find any obvious signs, they said, of a gas leak or a carbon monoxide leak.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. Hackman was 95. His wife in her 60s. One of their dogs was also found dead. President Trump says he could trust the Russian president to abide by any peace deal reached with Ukraine.
If a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia is reached, President Trump believes Russian President Vladimir Putin will keep his word.
I've known him for a long time now, and I think he will. I don't believe he's going to violate his word. I don't think he'll be back when we make a deal. I think the deal is going to hold.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says a deal could be backed up with European peacekeepers.
We've got to make sure it's a deal that lasts, that is not temporary, that lasts, and that's why we need to make sure that it's secure, and we've lent in and said we'll play our part.
President Trump is hosting Starmer a day before Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected here to sign off on a rare earth minerals agreement.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, where President Trump and the British Prime Minister are set to hold a joint news conference. One of the lawsuits over a toxic train derailment in Ohio has just been dismissed. A federal judge rejecting bondholders' claims that Norfolk Southern caused them hundreds of millions of dollars in losses by concealing safety risks before the 2023 derailment. America is listening to Fox News.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperature's a good 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, but still pretty easy to take. 59 sunny skies, a little windy, clear and chilly tonight. Let's drop it back to 36. Friday, sunny, windy, and warm, 70. Friday afternoon, it's not going to last. A dry cold front coming through Friday night. Colder for the weekend. Saturday, sunny and 48. Sunday, sunny and 46. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up, play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate. Paid for by Bayer.
O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine light testing program that pulls from over 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASE certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes. Available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Mark Reardon Show Fish Fries are about to begin. Join me and the crew at Holy Trinity Fish Fest in St. Louis. Details at 971talk.com/events. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show during Lent. Hope to see you March 7th.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show, 2:07 on a Thursday afternoon. It's February 27th. It's almost March. It's almost Christmas.
Oh. How long till the next election?
Oh, man.
You know what? I am out of countdowns
You know
except for
what?
one. I've got one countdown. It's the Hawaii countdown,
Okay.
and that is 92 days. I have really thought about putting the next election on and also putting one on that is from Inauguration Day so I could be like, he's been in office for X amount of days.
That's a good one. Although we don't really want another election. We're okay with this. I shouldn't say we don't want another election.
This many days left of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't want to count that down.
Yeah, I don't either.
Not yet. So I don't have a lot going on. I thought about counting down till the kids' last day of school, but that just makes it go faster. I don't like that.
You want them to stay in school?
I just want them to stay little.
I think it's a good message, though. Kids, stay in school.
I'm like, drop out and live with your mother.
And I'm wanting to end elections.
Yeah. Our YouTube poll for today, we haven't really talked about this a whole lot, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I think it's something that is important for us to not, there's so much winning, you're going to get tired of winning, and then you're like, oh, you forget that all of these things have consequences. One of the things, well, first of all, let me say that the YouTube live chat poll for today, if you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, we broadcast live there every day. 3-hour show, and lately we've been. Has that been going okay afterwards? Do you leave it up and people are chatting?
Yeah. I'll leave it up, and we'll run a previous interview that we did, usually the day before, if not maybe a couple days before, something that's timely and fun.
Or sometimes Ryan's greatest hits.
Yeah.
I didn't know about
And
this.
we
don't have any yet, so
we had about 60 people just stay around and chat on YouTube.
Yeah, and you never know. There could be an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Just the chat and one of the three of us, possibly. So if you're on the YouTube chat, you can stay for OTAF.
Here's what you should do. If you ever get to interview the president, do it in overtime.
Do it in overtime for those 60 people.
Yeah, but don't tell anybody it's coming either.
Yeah, that's how Steve fires me. You can go into the YouTube chat and there's a live chat poll. The poll is located in the live chat, which is the Ergo live chat poll. Are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts, yes or no? I want to harken back to conversations we had maybe even before the election, possibly. Time's moving so quickly. Remember when he was like, there are 426 agencies in government. We think we can get it down to 99. And we had the discussion on the air. How much cutting can take place before any of us are like, that one hit me? How much can be just taken right off the top before it personally affects us in some capacity? Even if it's not like your individual family unit, but maybe a sibling or a cousin or something, and they were directly impacted by it. We are starting to get to the place. I don't have anybody in my family that's been affected, but I do know people who they're certainly back in the office and they've been working from home for years, since COVID essentially. I know people who are trying to peek around the corner to make sure their job is okay, which, as we said yesterday, that's what radio is every day, even on a good day.
That's what a lot of jobs are.
Correct. But if we're going cut, which I still kind of am, I want all the fat trimmed. This is still going to hit real people in a real impactful way. Do conservatives need to be more mindful about how we talk about it? The YouTube poll is, are conservatives being too insensitive regarding those DOGE cuts?
No, not at all. In fact, this was the purpose why you voted for Donald Trump. At least one of the purposes.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, I get it.
You have to understand, and I'm clarifying this for the listener, that I'm not talking about like should Elon Musk tap the brakes. That's not what I'm saying. It's how you talk about it. Do you have your party hat on every time you're discussing? Oh, no, it's another $25 million. And then I saw in the KMOV maybe post 4 different agencies. We've lost about $1 million in investment here in St. Louis.
I know the right thing to say, which is, hey, we really feel for everybody who's losing their jobs, and that's true. That's the media sensitive thing to say, and that I'm not even saying I don't feel that way. If I know somebody, especially so far that has not happened. If I know somebody who loses their job because of government cuts, I'm going to feel bad for that person. I also will remind myself in that moment, again, and I'll remind myself over and over throughout this entire 4 years, we are $36 trillion in debt. These things have to happen. There's going to be collateral damage. Companies do this all the time. You just happen to work for the government where it doesn't ever happen, and it's happening to you now. So I do feel bad because anytime anybody anywhere is in a situation where bad things have happened to them, I feel bad for them. However, the overall mission is way, way too important to be tapping the brakes, like you said. You got to keep going.
But that's not the question.
Well, I think I'm answering it, aren't I?
You're saying the mission is worthy, and so you would say no.
I would say the mission is so worthy that being insensitive is not even part of the conversation. That you have to do this, and you have to keep talking about it in the way that we're talking about it.
Brad?
Man, this question is really hard to ask because if it's really dependent on what kind of people are being cut and what kind of people are losing their job. If you're a public servant and you've worked really hard at your job and you're working for the government and you're position just happens to fall under one of the umbrellas that is being chopped and being cut, then yeah, I would say toward you, conservative people are being a little bit insensitive. However, if you're one of those people who isn't really working, you got the job because you knew it would be cushy, you'd have really good job security, you put in minimal effort. If you're one of the people that's complaining about 5 bullet points of what you did last week and you can't come up with 5 things, then no, I don't feel bad for you. So overall, it's really hard to answer this question because I don't know which people make up the majority. Are the majority of people who work in government who are being laid off by DOGE, are they the hardworking people that are there trying to be public servants, putting in their 80 hour or 40 hours a week, 80 hours every 2 weeks, doing everything that they can to do their job with full fervor? I would feel really bad that you lost your job, and I would want to get you back into another position so that you can continue to actually work hard for the institution for which you work. But I don't know how many are that person and how many are the other kind of person. And so I'm going to say, until I get more evidence, I'm just going to say no. I don't think we're being too insensitive.
My answer to this question is broader than the question, but I think that conservatives are often too insensitive. Because you can be right and you can be righteous in what you are advocating for. I don't think that conservatives are, well, gosh, see, it's difficult because conservatives have been too nice for a long time, but they've been too nice to the thing they should have pushed back against. And there's a real difference between, someone telling you that there are an innumerable amount of genders and you going, but, there's just man and woman. There's just male and female. I internally know this. I'm just not going to say anything because am I going to win this argument? Am I going to hurt this person's feelings? Conservatives have for 15 years been like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And look where we are. Look what keeping our mouth shut has gotten us. So I feel like pushing back on those things we need to do more of that. My encouragement would be that we need to be very focused on what the mission is, what success looks like, and understanding that how we react to succeeding in those missions does matter when it comes to bringing people in. You can be gracious in victory. You can be gracious in defeat. You can be both of those things. You can be humble, and you can still understand that this is what we want without having to be thoughtless in the way that you talk about, every government cut, every person who loses their job because of DOGE is not the same. Conversely, I think I could go back to when Jen Psaki was talking at a podium when Joe Biden was losing all of those jobs of people who worked in oil fields because he decided that we didn't need any of that energy from our own country. And they said, go work in green jobs. And even before that, go learn to code. So it's a tough question to answer because I don't think that all conservatives are being too insensitive. I do think that some conservatives are being too insensitive, but those people who are kind of mouths for the movement, that's just kind of the way they market themselves. They're constantly looking to dunk the ball. You're up by 30 and you get a dunk, you're still dunking the ball. That's not really my style to begin with. I think that kindness is always in too rare form. I don't think on the whole that I'm seeing conservatives being insensitive on this issue, but I would use it as an opportunity to encourage you to think about what you're putting where, and knowing that this is probably hitting somebody in your orbit that you don't realize it's hitting. So just consider what you post, saying it to somebody in your life that you do care about, that probably voted the same way that you did, but is also on the wrong end of this. There's so many. Listen, In radio, there are so many reasons that we could not be on the air tomorrow. There are so many things that could happen to us that could not be on the air tomorrow. And if that were to happen, somebody's got to think it's for the greater good of something somewhere, whether I agree with it or not. That's a reality that I live under. I mean, the radio industry is a pretty ever-changing type of landscape, so we function under that type of stress, and you have to plan for it and everything. But if another radio show came on here and was really successful in 6 months, I can't pay bills on hoping people feel sorry for me for 6 months. Mm-hmm. I would have to go do something. I would have to figure out, what does God have in store for me next? Will I trust God in this moment to level me up in the midst of some temporary suffering? That is great advice that sucks to hear when you're in the midst of suffering.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's not
just
unfair
trust
to
God,
say.
man. Just trust God's got something in store for you. Thank you.
Well, it's just that moment when you're the one who's getting it. I don't know about you guys. I've been cut from jobs before, and I understood. I hated it, but I understood the larger picture. If the company wasn't making money and I was costing money that I wasn't bringing back in, I'm a liability. That's the way it works. Government is just insulated from that because it's so dang big, and they take your money forcibly, so you don't have a choice in funding it other than elections, which we're dealing with now. But I think there are a lot of private sector workers who are hearing public sector workers' stories and saying, you're fired. I understand that because I've been there. Mm-hmm. I got a text yesterday when we were talking about this subject from somebody who says, look, and this is not an uncompassionate person. He's just saying, look, no one felt sorry for me when I was laid off several times, lost my pension, and eventually was forced into retirement. Welcome to the real world, government workers. This is just the way it is. And you've been insulated from it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I'm going to probably vote no in this poll, and I'm going to just remind everybody, but myself first, that anytime we're talking about this, I know that you're sitting here listening to me right now, and I know that this is affecting you, and you don't want to hear people who agree with you on the majority of things laughing about your circumstances. So I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but I can be mindful of that. And I can also say, if they feel like this is what needs to happen in order to get us into a fiscally solvent place as a country, how do we make sure that Donald Trump said this too at one point a week or two ago? He's like, I hope that a lot of these people, I think Elon and Vivek said this too, I hope a lot of these people get out of the government work and find themselves in even better situations after the fact. It's a possibility.
Yes.
So I just think it's important to think about it. We have to think about all of the. There are times I have said things on the air, and I don't know many people who think more about what they say than I do. I'm self-critical. I'm very analytical. I talk for 3 hours every day. I am going to blow it from time to time. And there have been instances where I have done something or said something where someone has said, hey, Annie. And then they explain why what I said. And like sometimes from the moment they start saying it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not intend that. And I apologize. And I learned from it. I welcome that criticism. I have to have thick skin. And I have to also have an open mind that what we do and say here, it's consumed by people walking all different kinds of life. And that matters to me. And it's never my intention on this show to personally ostracize anyone. I want to hold the right people accountable, hold their feet to the fire. I want to have fun informing you. I want to have fun hanging out with my friends, Brad and Ryan and Ethan, and you. So it's never, of course, never our intention to hurt feelings. But I always think that we do need to be thinking about our sensitivities towards real people experiencing real things at the hands of the government who has allowed this to get out of control.
I just think the media is framing this, and people are sometimes framing this argument as, well, we could trim things down and be a little bit more efficient, yes, or we could have just left them alone, and yeah, it would have been a little bloated, but people's lives wouldn't have been interrupted. That's not the two options. The two options are we either trim this down now or we go into a financial death spiral as a nation. Like, that's the severity of the financial situation that we're in. So when you hear people who are really passionate about this issue, it's because they're concerned about their kids and their grandkids and the future of the entire nation and the free world because of the financial situation that we're in.
Jackie on YouTube says, Musk mocked Americans on stage holding a chainsaw. Republican leaders have no answers for their constituents at town hall meetings, and Republican leaders are laughing at Americans on Fox News. See, the thing is, Jackie, you think that's all being done to the American people? It's really being done for the American people. It's just a matter of perspective. Quick break. We're going to be back with Annie. Are you okay? Trisha's going to join us in studio, and we'll get the results to today's YouTube live chat poll at about 2:55 with Ethan in studio. You got to get your vote in first, though, and you can leave your comments, and like Jackie, we might feature yours as well. We'll be right back.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Have you met with my friend Todd Sivia yet? I have, of course, to finish the trust with my husband. We went to Sivia Law because we needed that peace of mind. Of course, we've got 4 kids. They all rely on us. And if something terrible and tragic happened, we need to make sure that they're going to be cared for in the right way. That's an important responsibility as a parent that I have towards my children. But it's bigger than that. And you might not have dependent children anymore, but you have real estate, you have assets, you have investments, and you want to make sure that maybe if your spouse dies, that it's not complicated, that it doesn't have to go into probate, that your system is going to be taken care of so that when the time comes, you have the opportunity to grieve and to move on. You don't have this extra painful experience of having to fight and pull and tug on systems that really aren't set up to make the process affordable, make it speedy, make it private. Probate sucks, and you need to avoid it by going to Todd Sivia at Sivia Law in Missouri and Illinois. Schedule your strategy session today, 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Reach out to my friend Todd Sivia and ask him how he can help you set up your peace of mind through a new trust, your estate planning today. 833-995-WILL, SiviaLaw.com.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
If you've tried and failed every ED treatment, there's another fix that could work for you. It's same-day surgery, it's minimally invasive, and is performed by South County urological physicians. Hundreds of men have come to us for this outpatient procedure that has a satisfaction rate of 90%. Interested? Call the dedicated ED phone line at South County Urological, 314-843-8000, extension 33. That's 314-843-8000, extension 33.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, A-U-D-A-C-Y. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
You're leaving for work, but the garage door won't open. Is it the opener? Is the spring broken? Now you're late and your car is trapped. Well, don't panic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The minds and voices that shape America are talking here.
This is Brian Kilmeade. This is Griff Jenkins from Fox News.
This is Jimmy Fallon.
Stream it on the Odyssey app.
97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 on the Odyssey app on your phone. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Hello, Trisha.
Hello, Annie and crew.
It's the start of my weekend. Woo! Here
Hello,
we go.
Newman.
You should have seen the eye contact that was made in this room when Hey Mickey starts playing. Is that what it's called?
We all looked at each other like the other one was going to make a witty comment, and nobody said
We didn't.
anything.
We just broke into dance.
We just danced a little bit with our shoulders.
Yeah, we didn't want to outdo one another.
Right.
So what do we got, Trisha?
Well, it's Annie. Are you okay? So, Colombian police catch a man smuggling packets of cocaine under toupee.
Oh, I saw these pictures.
Yeah, they're weird.
It was repulsive.
The suspect was detained at a Colombian airport earlier this week as he prepared to board a flight to Amsterdam. A scanner revealed 220 grams of cocaine with a street value of about $10,000 strategically placed under said toupee.
Cocaine in Colombia. Huh.
Is the only reason you do this is to go sell it? Or do you... I don't know. Is that like a lot of cocaine for one person?
I don't know. $10,000 doesn't seem like a huge gamble to, like, it's not a big payoff to do it on a plane. You'd think you'd go a little bigger.
Yeah, it sounds like in Colombia they talk people into smuggling, saying it's safe, that they're not going to get caught when they stick it in their hat. So my guess is somebody was trying to sell it. This guy was a mule of some sort.
He thought, $10,000, that'll be easy.
Yeah. If you haven't seen the video of them peeling his toupee off,
I haven't seen
and
it.
Is
it
revealing,
sewed onto his head?
It's just so awful. It's so awful.
I didn't realize it was a toupee at first.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Looked like
that
you're scalping him.
kind of.
Oh, gross!
Yeah.
Is it all bloody?
No,
no.
If it's sewed in, you know.
Trisha.
What? Are you okay?
Please.
Am I okay with cocaine?
Are you okay with cocaine?
No.
Are you okay with costumes?
Is how he tried to swing it?
I am okay with smuggling food and drink into the movie theater in my toupee. I just hold the toupee. like a purse. It's gross looking. Nobody's there. Like, I'm
Is
not
that
touching
lady holding a ball of hair?
Don't
yeah,
worry
let's
about
just
it.
leave her alone.
This
Stay
gross.
away.
She looks crazy. I'd leave her be. What costumes? Not really.
Did the toupee match his hair, or did it look like Max Headroom or something?
It looked like he didn't really. The pictures I saw, it was very distracting, but it didn't look like he had much hair under there.
It's
Well,
gross.
he's covering up baldness. That's why you have a
I don't know that
toupee.
he was. He still had some.
But
No, he didn't have it for that. He had it so he could smuggle cocaine.
Oh, you mean he wore a toupee and he doesn't usually wear a toupee?
We didn't ask him.
Ah.
I think,
Costumes.
for all we
Costumes.
know, he could just be a guy that's a little bit self-conscious about having some hair thinning
And
issues.
people knowing he's carrying cocaine. Do you?
Maybe
I'm not.
Maybe
I
he didn't know what was in there.
Yeah, maybe he's just self-conscious
maybe.
about cocaine.
I think that you can grow out of costumes. I think you should grow out of costumes.
Unless it's Halloween on the Annie Fry Show.
I don't. That's not for me. That's not done for me. I do it for the people, which is even weirder.
Ethan was Popeye. I think he should answer this question.
Yeah, I got to be Urkel.
Yeah.
Why, because I'm Popeye, do I have to answer the question?
Nothing in particular. I just wanted to get you a little mic time.
That's so nice of you.
You're welcome.
It's nice that we didn't answer the question. Next.
Prosecutor.
What we do.
Prosecutors say golden toilet was stolen from English Palace in audacious raid. A one-of-a-kind 18-karat gold toilet was swiped in under 5 minutes from Blenheim Palace, where British wartime leader Winston Churchill was born. The toilet weighed 215 pounds and was valued at $3.5 million. 3 men are currently on trial.
Now that's a throne.
What's the question?
Are you okay with gold toilets?
I got a golden toilet.
What's the question? I don't know.
Johnny
It's a
Donkin
weird
original.
story.
Yeah.
Wasn't the didn't Donald Trump have golden toilets? in his
So
apartment, like
so
his
the-
penthouse in New York or whatever?
This is interesting. The piece, it's actually an art piece that had previously been on display at the Guggenheim Museum in New York.
Say it again.
The Guggenheim?
Guggenheim.
Guggenheim.
Yeah, you say it like that.
The museum had offered the work to U.S. President Donald Trump during his first term in office after he had asked to borrow a Van Gogh painting. So he must have gone to the museum and said, hey, can I get a Van Gogh? And they're like, hey, how about a toilet?
Do you guys know that Pablo Picasso died in 1973?
No, but that seems really recent.
Don't you feel like he should have died in 1573?
Mm-hmm.
Craziest part is that was still like over 50 years ago.
You shut your mouth.
Ooh, dang. Counterpoint. Nice.
Rude.
Ethan's like, that is ancient
Oh.
history. What are you talking about? Gosh. Go
Oh.
produce some things. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go think about what you've done.
Just stand in the corner over there with your nose
Go
there.
watch Bluey.
Bluey's so good.
To answer your question, I'd feel weird pooping in that.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. You would love it.
No, I would not. It's
What if it had a
gold.
bidet?
If it had a bidet, I'd feel better about it. I would still feel weird. Made of gold. I'm going to poop on that.
Is the entire interior made of gold as well, or just the outside?
Solid gold.
Was Trump asking for things he could go to the bathroom on, and
How
they were
can you
like,
tell
no,
if somebody
not
left
a
pee
Van Gogh.
behind?
They're like, here, take this toilet, though.
A couple had to sit next to a dead body for hours on Qatar Airways flight. This is a terrible story. The couple was traveling from Melbourne en route to Italy.
Thanks for the clarification.
When a woman walked out of the bathroom and collapsed near the row. Tragically, she did not make it. The pair, who were the only ones in a row of four, said flight attendants put the woman in one of the spare seats for the remaining 4 hours of the flight and did not offer to move them.
Mm-hmm.
They also claim they were instructed to stay put while medical teams removed blankets covering the women after landing. Annie, are you okay with middle seats on airplanes?
Let's first talk about the dead body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw the story and I read a little bit about it, and that's outrageous. If you were the person sitting in there, no. But what are they supposed to do? And I thought about this for a little bit of time. Like, what are your alternatives? You could put them in. The only other thing I could think of is you put it in one of the bathrooms.
Bathroom, cargo hold.
I don't think you can get into the cargo hold from inside of
it's
the
not pressure.
flying
Overhead
plane.
bin.
Were they over water? Like, was it
So
impossible
what are you
for them?
thinking?
Was it impossible for them to go and land?
Oh.
Okay.
They were 10 hours into a 14-hour flight. So
Did you guys think I was talking about just dumping it?
Yes.
No.
what they thought.
Just
Ethan,
put it in the
that's
bathroom
terrible.
and flush.
That's how that works, isn't it?
People, what do you think of me? Holy cow!
Dumbest.
We were about to think a lot less of you.
Because
No, like,
think
why
about
couldn't
if-
you have just landed?
if your loved one, if that's your loved one, you have to think. Like, I'm thinking to myself, if it's me or if it's my loved one and they're stuck on the airplane next to a dead body, that's not acceptable. But if it's your loved one and they're like, they put her in the bathroom, how do you feel about
Yeah.
that? So you have a situation in my mind where you have to think about, like, what's the least offensive to the most people? And I really think that putting them in a bathroom in a way that is,
You're going to get a lawsuit regardless.
well, I mean,
The airline's going to get it.
how can they get a lawsuit unless they did something negligent that caused her death? You have to do something.
I think the family, though, would say exactly what you're saying. Like, oh, how could they put my loved one in a bathroom?
I know that, but I think that when you say the alternative is that you sit them next to some people in a chair next to them, I don't think that that's appropriate either.
I don't either.
So I feel like there needs to be, like, a judge would have to look at that situation and say, given the possibilities of what could be done here, you can't stow them. You can't put them up.
Cockpit.
That literally was something that,
Pilot's goggles. Make a thing out of it.
I don't know, like airplane.
Leather hat.
No,
Yeah.
but I even thought about that, but that you can't, if you put what if the body's not actually dead? Like, what if something happens? Those people need to be, especially in the world of like terrorism and stuff like that. If you could make yourself appear to be dead, if you could lower your pulse, your breathing, or something like that, and then get yourself put in the cockpit, and then you come back and then you do something terrible. That's a lawsuit.
Like after 4 hours, the person goes, "Wow, what a nap!" You're like, "Oh man, I'm glad we didn't put that person in the bathroom."
You wouldn't even have to take control of the flight. The pilot's like,
I just think that you have such limited options of what you can do in that instance that you have to do the thing that offends the least amount of people, and I don't think that sitting that person in that chair next to passengers is the right thing to do. I don't. If I were those people on that flight, I would be asking for some serious airline points.
Yeah.
I just can't believe you guys actually thought that I was suggesting dumping them into the ocean.
We didn't know what you were suggesting.
We thought you were kind enough to say, well, if it's over land, that would be inappropriate.
We're still mad at you for the 1973 point. What was the question? I didn't even answer the question yet. Calm down.
I asked if you were okay with middle seats on airplanes.
No. Now it is. Thank you.
Chinese company withdraws notice setting deadline for single workers to get married.
What?
A notice went out at the Shuntian Chemical Group warning single employees between the ages of 28 and 58 to, quote, resolve your personal marriage issues or, quote, the company will terminate your labor contract.
Where is this?
In China.
This is not American?
This is
I'm
not
shocked.
American.
Okay.
They should just start marrying their employees off.
The announcement came amid the Chinese government's ongoing push to encourage younger generations to get married and have children in order to counter the country's declining birth rate. But even in China, this violated Chinese labor law. And
Are
so
there
the company
still
had to roll
limits
it
on how
back.
many kids you can have in China? Is that done?
I don't think there are
It
anymore.
sounds like if it is, they could solve their problem the other way.
Unless they pair like a 58-year-old with a 26-year-old.
What, like
then I don't know.
Belichick?
That's
That's even worse. He's like 70 something.
Yeah, I'm going to
It's
go
like a
ahead and write
50-year difference.
that down as the name of the hour.
No, nobody listens to our show to hear about Belichick. You title the things that you find the most humorous. But we've talked about
Wait,
other
so
things
what is the
in
actual,
this hour.
What is the actual title,
Hey,
Ryan?
we want clickbait titles, Ryan. Let's
Hour
go.
3, like Belichick.
No.
Be like Bill.
Annie, are you okay with companies inquiring about employees' personal lives?
No, it's none of their business. Mind your business.
You know I tell my bosses everything anyway. So.
That's the difference between inquiring. They're not asking you, but you are still telling.
Mm-hmm. Steve.
That's why
I went sledding today.
That's why you don't see Steve around the office.
Yeah, have you noticed he's been gone for 3 weeks?
Steve,
In Florida.
It's really about you.
Steve, I pooped in a gold toilet today.
That was gross, Ethan.
That's what you said. I was quoting you.
Gross.
All right, last one. Suspect on the run after apparent road rage axe attack, caught on camera. It wasn't an
Road
accident.
rage axe attack, like
Yes.
the body spray.
Police, no, like an actual axe.
Oh.
Police are searching for a man who was seen on video attacking a car with an axe following a collision in Memphis. In the video, the suspect can be seen striking the side of the vehicle twice before stepping away, appearing to provoke the passenger inside.
It was Thor.
He then takes off his jacket, throws it on the ground, stares at the victim, then grabs his jacket, gets in his car, and drives away. The unknown man is facing charges of aggravated assault.
Yeah, I would
Annie,
think.
are you okay with road rage?
No, road rage is scary. I've had a gun pointed at me in traffic before.
What?
Oh, yeah. On the bridge, in standstill traffic. Stan Musial Bridge. 8:30 a.m. This was like, 7 years ago or something.
What'd you do?
To,
Since you're in standstill
to
traffic,
deserve
there's
it
not
or
much to
after the
do.
gun was pointing at me?
Both.
Just sat there. Hoped he didn't shoot me.
Alrighty.
It's scary.
Yeah.
This guy was coming from, my recollection was he didn't have plates. I think it seemed like it may be a stolen vehicle situation that was coming over hot and heavy from Illinois trying to get across the river. And there was some traffic backed up to get on 70 westbound, I guess it would be, from the Stan Musial Bridge. And I was passing, I don't drive slow. I usually drive mid to upper 70s. And I was passing a semi, and he wanted to go faster than I was passing the semi, and he was tailing me. And then he zoomed around me and, like, went super fast and then cut me off and, like, did the brake thing just to be a jerk or whatever. So I backed off as much as I possibly could, tried to get a car in between us so that we would be separate. This is going over the bridge. He got over to the right lane. I was still in the left lane because I was coming downtown, and it just so happened that we ended up on the bridge and backed up traffic, parked next to each other, and he pulled a gun out and pointed at me. So,
holy cow.
Yeah. Like ever since then, anytime somebody looks like they're behaving erratically, especially on the highway, but anywhere, I am eyes straight forward, no like dirty looks. Definitely, I'm not a finger flipper offer. No dramatic stares when you're driving past them. That ends really badly. And I mean, road rage is such a real thing. It's something I'm worried about with my son being 15, so we're driving a lot because he's got his permit. I think it'd be really easy to bait a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, young teenager into making one stupid decision. And it doesn't even have to be anything you did wrong. Road rage scares me a lot because it's out there. It's out there a lot right now. I'm not okay with it. Anybody else okay with road rage? Ryan?
No, but I'm glad that you said that you were on the bridge because Ethan's next question would have been, were you over water? Now we know.
Actually, at that portion, I wasn't over water anymore, but I was not off the bridge.
Oh, okay.
It would have been a valid question.
Yeah, still is for whatever the question is.
You know, Trisha, I think I remember coming to talk to you after that happened years ago because I kind of I had to go to a sales meeting really quick for the radio station in the morning, which is what I was trying to get over here for. And it freaked the heck out of me, and I didn't know what to do. And I remember coming to talk to Trisha and Katie and being like, this happened, and I'm like starting to really wig out about it. It was scary. It was horrible. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts? Let us know what you think. Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be back in a minute.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw. You want to make sure that you sit down with them or just give them a call, set up that appointment, a zero cost. It doesn't cost you anything to have that initial conversation to see if it's a right fit for you with the Retirement Advisory Group. When you contact them and you set up this appointment, you're going to hear how they can guide you through the transitionary period out of their working years into your retirement years, and you make sure that you prepare everything accordingly, that you make the right moves to prepare yourself to relax, to enjoy a worry-free retirement. Doesn't that sound nice? You know you want to travel. There are places you want to see, things that you want to do, relaxing that you want to take in, but you can't quite do that until you know that you are all set. The Retirement Advisory Group specializes in that very thing. 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Call the Retirement Advisory Group. Tell them that Annie sent you and schedule that appointment today. RetirementKey.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mark Cox here. Are you looking for the perfect start to your child's education? At Kirk Day School, the early childhood program for ages 3 and 4 is where your little one will learn to thrive. They have hands-on activities, nurturing teachers, and a biblical worldview. You can attend their early childhood open house Friday, March 7th, meet the dedicated educators, and tour their Christ-centered classrooms. To register for their early childhood open house and learn more, visit kirkdayschool.org.
The YouTube live chat poll today, we're going to discuss it here in a minute and get the results. Are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts? It's a yes or no. We'll look at some of your comments in the live chat as well. It's the YouTube live chat poll, and it is 2:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon on a Thursday afternoon getting set to go here after Fox News. It very well might be the dumbest thing ever said on a CNN panel, especially one featuring Scott Jennings. That's a very high mark, by the way, because the bar's pretty low. But we're going to talk about it coming up. We got Brad Young at 3:25 talking about a very interesting reverse discrimination case as well. It's all coming up here on a Thursday after Fox News.
That she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her head.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Reminds me that there's a time to change. Since the return of a stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. Well, tell me, did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see the lights all faded and that heaven is overrated? Tell me, did you fall from a shooting star? One without a permanent scar, and then you missed me while you were looking
Democrats and White House officials about it, but Alex Thompson of Axios and I have spent the last several months talking to more than 200 insiders and officials and donors and activists, more willing to talk post-election, of course, to explain the last couple of years in politics and how we as a nation got here with never-before-heard stories from behind the scenes. You will not believe what was really going on. You can pre-order the book at originalsinbook.com. originalsinbook.com.
The one thing that Jake Tapper is going to repeat on his show is the name of his new book that is going to expose what was going on in the Joe Biden White House. You won't believe the kind of things that people are saying right now about what actually took place with the cover-up of Joe Biden's administration. No, it really kind of feels to me, Jake Tapper, like if anybody is going to be shocked that it might actually, in fact, be you. Let's just go into the. Can you do the Wayne's World? Can we just go on the way back machine? There you go. Here we go.
You guys talked about the Russia hoax nonstop.
The FBI was investigating it. The FBI was investigating it. So we recovered them.
And so you took the words of unnamed FBI agents and put them on your network as if they were the gospel truth. You did it again and again. A viewer of your network would have believed that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin conspired in 2016.
No.
That was totally and preposterously false.
No.
Well, that's
what you just said is
right.
false.
President Trump has gone to, quote, extraordinary lengths to keep specifics about his meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin secret, even keeping them from top members of his own administration. Take a listen to how President Trump responded Saturday night when asked directly if he has ever worked for Russia.
I think it's the most insulting thing I've ever been asked. I think it's the most insulting article I've ever had written.
The president did not directly answer the question. It's a stunning turn of events. Do you think the president of the United States ever worked on behalf of the Russians against American interests?
Well, Jake Tapper, you nerd. I'm so entertained by what we've been saying for so long regarding the Joe Biden White House while Joe Biden was in the White House or wherever he was vacationing in 40% of the time. Who's going to write the book? Who's going to do the tell-all? Who's going to go behind the scenes and reveal the real things that were taking place that will have us all shock and awe that this was the president of the United States? Jake Tapper spends years creating and following bologna sausage headlines to then all of a sudden be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it's pretty clear. We've been very focused on reporting the news to you and bringing you the real information as it happens. No, you bring us the real information when you can make money off of a book about it. J.D. Vance sitting there in an interview with him, calling him out on things that he did and said and pushed regarding the Russia hoax. And Jake Tapper, when he's sitting there, you can tell he's got his mind made up. No, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. And then it's like, okay, go to the cut. And then you play the clip of where he was absolutely doing that. Jake Tapper is now going to come tell us that Joe Biden wasn't in his right mind in a book that he can make money off of? Hilarious. I hope it's a good book.
What's his book called? How I Did It?
If I Did It.
If I Did It? Is that what it was? I couldn't remember.
I think that's OJ's book.
He only said the title 4 times.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy, Jake Tapper, is he gonna be able to continue on in his CNN ways? Because obviously the landscape is shifting on the left-leaning media thing. I still see people who suggest that CNN is a source of news. It's news. It's a source of news to them. They're the last ones to know, and now they're going to be like, I don't think Joe Biden was calling the shots.
Oh man, wouldn't that be amazing? They went. Oh man, this really opened my eyes up. You know what though? I'm going to take it a step further and say that this actually keeps his job. This is the kind of thing that he can say, look, I'm just being fair and balanced here. I'm doing both sides.
Fairly unbalanced.
I actually think he will gain job security from doing this book.
That frustrates me.
It's this book is going to be everything that he sat on over the past 4 years and wouldn't report on.
He always looks like he's disappointed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like every time you see him, he looks like that.
Maybe.
Like
he needs to look in the mirror.
I think you could do better.
Yeah. You're right. In that J.D. Vance clip, he had already decided, well, this man is not worthy of whatever he's about to say. He's just going to be fighting me anyway.
You have to discount the pushback from the very beginning. Otherwise, the House of Cards falls. Because Jake Tapper and CNN, the ones who were supposed to be the news, MSNBC, they don't even pretend. CNN, who was it recently that was like, this is CNN? Was it Anderson Cooper? He said something to like
that sounds right.
One of these like mid-level popularity congressmen. Was it Thomas Massey? I got to go back and find that clip. He's like, this is CNN. They're like, yeah, CNN. Then they just ripped him to pieces to their face.
Yes, I do remember.
I can't remember who it was. But I mean, we don't take these people seriously anymore. And now they're like, we should make money off of this. Let's just tell people what's really been happening. Our listeners who haven't known this for so long because they've been watching our shows on CNN.
It's frustrating.
Ethan?
292 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll are conservatives being too insensitive regarding DOGE cuts. 73% say no, 27% say yes.
You heartless individuals. We all kind of said no, too. Did you have a thought on this one, Ethan?
I'm with you guys. No. I mean, it sucks for the people that are getting cut, but, we're the ones that are paying taxes on it. So.
Don't be a jerk about it, but continue on. All right, stick around here. Mark Reardon next, and we'll see. Maybe those Epstein files will come out. 97.1 will be here to cover it. Don't go away.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Seminars can help.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminars, Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55 in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission, $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement, a $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-380-9012. 800-380-9012. Again, that's 800-380-9012.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
Let's talk to our friend Andy McCarthy about it. He's a contributing editor at National Review, fellow at National Review Institute, and he's host of the McCarthy Report. And we, of course, see him as a Fox News contributor. Andy, welcome back to the show. Good to have you.
Annie, great to be with you.
Thank you. When you saw the story kind of develop and Elon Musk sends these emails out and wants people to respond with some bullet points of what they do, a lot of people are saying, I don't work for you, Elon Musk. I don't have to do this. What are your thoughts on the legal ramifications of this endeavor?
Well, look, I think it was what they're trying to do, like their overarching goal is a good one. They want to understand what everybody in the federal government, and particularly the executive branch, I think part of why this was an overshoot on Musk's part is, not all of the 2.2 million people who work for the federal government work for the executive branch. The president's in charge of the executive branch, but he doesn't have a right to be, nosing around in what's going on with the judiciary and congressional branches. But, the idea that they should know.
We are partners.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Every vital piece of equipment that we have here uses Spectrum.
What people are doing and whether these jobs are worthwhile. I think one of the theories that Trump has about executive power, which I agree with, is that while the president doesn't have what we call constitutional impoundment authority, in other words, he can't cancel spending that Congress does outright, he does have the right to run the executive branch. And if he can accomplish what Congress has asked him statutorily to accomplish, but do it with, for less money and resources that Congress has appropriated, he should be able to do that. If they've asked for spending that's against the law for some reason or other, he should be able to, freeze it, review it, and not spend it if he's got a legal defense to spending it. So all those things are good ideas. The question is, how do you go about it? And, you don't want to ask 2.2 million people, what'd you do last week? I mean, I know it sounds like it's common sense. But, if you're working at the Justice Department or the FBI or a law enforcement agency, you can't explain what you were doing last week without the possibility of either creating legal problems for the government in ongoing cases, compromising, information that shouldn't be compromised about investigations and that sort of stuff. And every big department, the Defense Department, the State Department, et cetera, are all going to have mission-related reasons why you wouldn't want to just, in an unfiltered way, have everybody describe what they were doing. Plus, Trump has installed all these people at these important agencies, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, et cetera, because he trusts them and he thinks he can run them efficiently. So if you really want to get to the bottom of what people are doing, Musk ought to be asking, Pete Hegseth, what's going on, who's doing what at the Defense Department, and have the conversation at that level where he can use the expertise of the people who are closest to the situation that Trump trusts without having, the whipsaw and the panic that went on in the federal workforce. So I think it's a good, it's a good impulse. It's just not, this one wasn't well thought through.
Yeah. We're speaking with Andy McCarthy right now, our legal expert and friend here, Fox News contributor. When I'm watching the president in these first 30 days, I mean, it's just been such a fast pace 4 weeks to watch what his administration has come in and done. And there have been plenty of legal challenges to things that the president has signed through executive order. I'm wondering what your thoughts are, the assessment of these first 4 weeks. I got to assume that any president who comes in knows that there are going to be legal challenges. If you think that it's going to be challenged, you don't just quit and not do it. What do you think about the legal preparation that Donald Trump has had coming into this administration to get done what he said he was going to get done?
Well, first of all, I agree with you entirely about the pace. I think I was 20 when this administration started a month ago. I sure feel that way. I mean, every week's been like a dog year by the time you get to the end of it. Mm-hmm. So they have taken on a lot. But on the other hand, he's got a 4-year term. And, the way politics intrudes, we're going to have midterm elections in 2026. And then the main story, I mean, Trump is such an outsized figure. He's never going to allow himself to be relegated to the sidelines. But, it's going to be a big story who's going to be the president in 2028, who's going to win that election. So I think Trump probably figures I have, a year to 18 months to really get done the things that are of highest priority to me. And I think he had the advantage, which is weird to say it because he obviously wanted to win the 2020 election, but he had the advantage of having done the job before. So it's not like he's going to be thrown in not knowing where all the levers are, but having 4 years to think about what he would do the next time to hit the ground running and pursue the things he wants to pursue. And I think that's exactly what they've done. So I get that, you hit the ground running with like 100 executive orders, and he's followed them with more executive orders. And obviously, those are orders that allow the president to organize or reorganize the executive branch and exercise power that he has. So it's good to, especially if you want to make big changes with that, to implement them right away. Some of the stuff is going to be edgy, and where it's edgy, you expect that there are going to be lawsuits, just like, when Biden was president, when Obama was president, there were lots of lawsuits with respect to that too. Obama in particular started this style of governance because he couldn't get anything done in Congress, where he basically said, I have a phone and I have a pen and I'm just going to rock and roll. And a lot of conservative litigants said, well, no, actually you're not, and went to court. So you expect this. And unfortunately, you have a lot of judges who are ideological. And if you know what president appointed them, you pretty much know where they're going to come out on a litigation. I think also, by the way, you have an awful lot of judges who are just trying to get it right and do the right thing. But these left-wing groups who are now challenging Trump are forum shopping to places where they think they're going to get judges who are helpful to them. So you get a lot of litigation, for example, before the district court in the District of Columbia. Just like when Biden was president, you had a lot of litigation in Florida and Texas. This is what lawyers do. They try to figure out, where's the best place I can bring my claim to try to, get a favorably disposed judge. So you have a lot of that going on. And I think you have a lot of judges who don't think it's a big deal to say, let's put the brakes on this for 2 weeks. And so I can sit through it and sort it out. Sometimes that's a good impulse. Sometimes it's a really bad impulse. We have a case right now involving the Office of Special Counsel, the guy who runs the Special Counsel's office, which kind of enforces federal laws that pertain to the federal workforce. There should be no doubt that because that lawyer is a government official who exercises executive power, President Trump should be able to remove him. He doesn't need to have a reason, even though the Congress tried to put in the civil service laws that you have to have, reasons for that. He should be able to remove him. Instead of letting him remove him, you had a district judge in Washington who said, let's wait 2 weeks. I'll have a hearing in 2 weeks. And they're trying to set up the precedent that the judiciary can basically, in any case, even when the president should win as a slam dunk, they should be able to put the brakes on it. So there's a lot of this is very frustrating in terms of pace, but it's probably more sensible to look at, what does it look like 4 months from now or 6 months from now than right this minute.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, and of course you're a legal expert, so I would imagine that getting in the weeds on all of these things for you, it's a necessity, but for us, you just kind of sit here and you stare and you wait for the next thing to happen. It's hard to consume for the non-legal experts out here, so we're grateful for your time. Last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Andy McCarthy. The president, of course, faced a lot of legal challenges coming into his presidency. He is a convicted felon right now. We understand how that materialized. He is working on the appeal. What are there legal challenges that?
Ancestry has this feature where you can colorize your photos.
Oh, look at the colors.
Donald Trump still faces due to what the Democrats were able to successfully bring against him as far as charges go?
There's no prospective charges. Like, for example, the federal cases that got dismissed, they were dismissed, particularly the one in Washington, that was dismissed without prejudice, which in theory means that when Trump gets out of office, when he's, 82 4 years from now, they could ramp that case up again. That's never going to happen. And the other thing is by then it would be, by then the 2020 election will have been like many years before, so you'd be brushing up against the statute of limitations and all that stuff. So I don't think there's any of that stuff that will be revived. I do think you're going to see litigation in the appeals of the two big cases in New York. The one that you just referred to, which was the Manhattan criminal case, they have a very good chance to get that reversed on appeal, and that's going to go forward. The reason that can go forward is basically clients don't participate in an appeal. It's not like a trial where the client has to be, the defendant has to be there every day. So the appeal is something you can leave to the lawyers to do. It shouldn't interfere with President Trump's ability to be president. And the other thing that's on appeal is the atrocious civil fraud judgment that also came out of New York against Trump. I think he's got a very good chance to get the, remember that damage award was almost $500 million.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, he's got a very good chance, I think, to get that either gutted in a way that would significantly decrease the judgment or even get it thrown out, because the Court of Appeals got argued was not happy, it appeared at least, with what Tish James, the Attorney General of New York, did. She basically took a consumer protection statute that is basically for the protection of people who don't have the resources to fight fraudulent practices by big companies, and she applied it in a situation where you're dealing with sophisticated financial actors on both sides of a transaction who they know they have to do due diligence in their dealings with each other. And that's why, she couldn't prove any fraud. And most of the people who did business with Trump made money and said they'd love to do business with him again. It was kind of a stupid case.
Kind of a stupid case. And I quote Andy McCarthy. I love that. I mean, what I hear you saying here, correct me if I'm wrong, that it is possible that every legal challenge that Donald Trump faced charges could either be dropped or he could be exonerated.
Yeah, I think that's right. The federal cases, look, I think that the Mar-a-Lago case was the biggest threat to him. And the reason that case never got to trial is because Jack Smith overcharged it, and the classified information issues in it were very complicated. And then, in a really bullheaded move, when Judge Cannon suggested that Jack Smith's appointment was not kosher constitutionally, there was a very easy fix for the Biden Justice Department. They could have just reassigned Smith to work under a confirmed U.S. attorney in Florida, and that would have been the end of the problem. Instead, Garland and Smith decided to fight Judge Cannon on that, and the result was the indictment got dismissed, and there was no way that the appeal was going to be completed by the time of the election, and then Trump won, so the case ended up being dropped. So I think he caught a break on that one, but whether I'm right or wrong about that, the fact is the case is dropped and it's not going to be revived. And none of the other criminal cases against him that were part of the lawfare campaign are going to be revived, except for the Manhattan one that we talked about, and he's got a good chance to beat that on appeal.
It's really something. It's been quite 4 years, even more so than that. Andy McCarthy, we're thankful for your time. We appreciate you being with us here today and look forward to having you back again soon.
Thanks so much, Annie.
Take care. Bye-bye. Andy McCarthy is a contributing editor at National Review, Fox News contributor, host of The McCarthy Report. Check that out.
Most Planet Fitness clubs are open 24 hours, so you can work out whenever.
We're coming in early. Staying late.
Whatever works for you.
Save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal